All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to the last of 2024 Happy Hour Show. I'm Cabana Crypto. That is a very comfy Big K by the fire doing Big K things. How you doing,
Indeed.
sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Indeed, I am comfortable, sir. It's warm over here by this fireplace.
Oh, cheers to you. And here we go. Thank
Oh, cheers. Pardon
yes.
me, gentlemen.
We got
That's
the
my room service. I'll be right
Oh,
back.
oh, okay. Well, while you go get
This
that, let's
guy.
this guy. We'll go around the room. Brandon from buildthetech.com. How you doing, sir?
Dude, I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking. Christmas was good. We got the New Year's coming, and then did some cool stuff over the past couple days here. So all is well, man.
Nice. Love to
Yeah.
hear it. And
Maybe left it right here.
Yeah, it's fine.
oh, hold on.
Room service.
He timed this perfect.
He
He
did.
texted him.
I think he
It's like,
was
we're
like,
live.
I'm
We're
on.
live. Go,
We're
go,
live.
go.
Let's go.
Flexing on us.
Big K is always doing something on the air. He's driven golf carts and fancy cars in downtown Chicago, and yeah, so it's always
Threw
a
out the
flex with
first
this guy.
pitch, right? Threw out
Yep.
the first pitch.
Throughout
at,
the first pitch. Although that
Cubs
wasn't
game.
live on this
Really?
show, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
we'll get some stories. With that. Oh, while Big K is we'll just mute that. All right, there we go. And welcome to the first
there he
time
is.
to
He's
have
back.
a show. Shill Gates, man, what's going on?
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and it's pretty cool that this is the last show of the year. I get to close out the year with a bang. But yeah, I'm good. My head's still kind of spinning. I was just telling somebody it's been exactly 1 month since I've been welcomed into the Pulse Chain community, and it has been a whirlwind.
A good whirlwind, I hope.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm busier than I've ever been. It's crazy. I feel
I
like I
see
need to
you
hire an
everywhere
assistant.
on streams with SJ and other creators, so it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. I tell everybody it's giving me vibes from the early days of crypto.
Nice. And I guess let's just jump right into that segue. Like, tell me your early days of crypto, how you got into it, and how you kind of took that route and got here, I guess, a month ago.
So I bought Bitcoin for the first time in 2014. Back then, I believe the price was around like 200, 250, something like that. I had an awareness about it for a while. I had seen Andreas Antonopoulos on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about it, and that's initially what sparked my interest. I delayed getting in longer than I probably should have because I was worried about security. And from there, I really wasn't like head first. Like it was more like dipping my toe in the water. But the year after, probably around 2015, heading into 2016, I started mining Ethereum. And that's really when I just dove in head first. That's when the Shill Gates character was created. And I never had plans of becoming an influencer. I basically made my Twitter just to keep up with crypto news. And I always like to customize things. So being a graphics guy and stuff, like I just kind of created this character as a joke. And before you know it, like I ended up having like 48,000 followers on Twitter on my
Nice.
original account. And, that ended up getting suspended. But so I kind of like fell into this role by accident, but my crypto journey was completely on purpose.
Well, we're glad you made it, man. So
Thank
I can remember your account from back in like early 2017 time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been mining since I started mining Monero in 2016, and so I've been around the block as well, and definitely remembered your account from 2017 time when you had a pretty big following. I was mining Ethereum at the same time too. So yeah, when I saw you getting into Pulse Chain and Hex stuff, I was like, oh man, sick, super excited to see you.
Yeah, like I've been around for a while. I've had my times where like seasons I don't post as much and then I kind of come back around. And, I think the cool thing about Pulse Chain. So let me just explain real quick for anybody that doesn't know how I got into Pulse Chain. I was just doing my regular posts, and I made a post about some of my calls for this upcoming cycle, and Hexologist comes into my mentions, who he's been following me for years. Like, we've always gone back and forth in replies, but he's never really shilled me or anything like that. And he goes, why don't you have Hex or PLS on your list? And I basically was like, I don't know. Like, what? Tell me about it. Like, shill me on it. Cause I have like documented tweets of me being interested in Bitcoin Hex back in the day when Richard was about to launch it, but I just kind of lost track of it and missed the boat on the initial Hex pump, and then it kind of just went off my radar after that. So I didn't really know how cool what you guys have built in terms of the community and then also the blockchain, and like I didn't really know all that was going on because I just had so much other stuff going on. But he ended up sending me like $30 worth of PLS. I had to set up a wallet, and then I started digging into the charts, and I basically just fell down the rabbit hole from there.
Okay, guys.
That sounds like a proper crypto introduction, and
Yeah,
no
Well,
less
that's what
from Hexologist, of course.
Yeah,
the man, the myth, the legend. But that's what
Yeah.
I try to tell everybody, right? Like that to me, especially somebody that's in crypto, that's one of the best ways to onboard them. Just send them a little bit of it. They're gonna dig in, look at the charts, see what this new asset they got is, and they might end up just dumping it, or I still have that $30 that he sent me, and I've added a lot more to it.
Man, he's been pretty steadfast and true. Like, he's been basically streaming Hex content since day one too. Like, I mean, if it wasn't for him being a live streamer when he was doing, at the word, like the bottom of Hex charts in the first few months, like that was one of the reasons why I started to. I was like, man, if this guy can do it, I can get up here and say some dumb stuff on the internet too. So.
Well, that's what I keep trying to tell everybody, right? Like, obviously, not everybody wants to be on camera. I'm not even on camera. But everybody doesn't want to be a known person, whatever. But everybody has a role that they can play. And I feel like if anybody's sitting on the sideline, like, they need to just go out and get over their fear and do it, because everybody's voice and opinion matters. And like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't view myself as anyone special. Like, I'm just a regular guy that is passionate about cryptocurrency and decided to voice my opinions and some of the lessons I've learned and stuff like that.
That's for real, man. That's how I take it when I talk to people. I'm like, man, I'm really nobody from nowhere that gets to do all this cool ass shit now because of this stuff. Like, I think other people should pay attention. That's kind of how I take it too. And being able to do it with such an awesome community of people like that, it's been fun. It's been super fun. So I'm super glad that you're here and messing around with it. And then Hexo is the way that you got here too is great. And
yeah. Well, because like I always like I give him crap for it now, because like I mess with him in the DMs all the time. I'm like, bro, you never told me you were famous. Like, he was always just a guy. He was always just a guy that I saw in my replies. Like, he was a reply guy for me, and I never like clicked on his profile or anything. So I didn't know he had all these followers. I didn't know he had a YouTube. I didn't know like what a big deal he was. So like,
He's kind of a big deal. No.
Kind of a big deal.
He was like that first year, because like the first year at Hex, before anything even super popped off, I moved out to Puerto Rico and like had the plan to like, maybe this is going to be something. I can remember being like watching Hexologist, basically his daily streams every day. He'd do a stream, and I was like, it was reinforcing. It was definitely a reinforcing thing. Like, maybe I think we are doing something that's going to be awesome, and it's been insane ride. So,
and here's the thing, right? I know you guys can appreciate this, at least to some degree. Like, I don't think a lot of the audience understands all that goes on behind the scenes in terms of like being a personality and just a lot of the logistics and stuff like that. Like, it's a lot of work. And I feel like you guys probably put in a fair amount of work on your end too. And it's like, I don't think like people appreciate the amount of time that people like Hexologists have committed to Hex.
Oh yeah, an insane amount of time. It's true. He's everywhere, and all his ability to stay on top of things on social media and X and is pretty impressive too. I definitely give some serious credit for that for all influencers that are doing that.
as you can see, Big K and I know work and commitment to happy hour shows. So
Indeed.
At least you got a job you can drink at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for real.
Speaking of which, this is the happy hour show. I see DJ Cryptomatic has done the raid, so welcome over, Mr. DJ from Twitch, and all the crew that was following along the pregame show there. So welcome. Yes, Agenda 69. I fixed the Twitch link, so we are good there. And yeah, as customary for the show, as long as I think about it, what is everyone drinking? Let's go around the room. I guess Big K. I see your Big K rosé-ish.
It's a lovely bottle of Silver Oak Cabernet, Napa Valley Cab, as you know, I tend to really appreciate. So we're in the middle of deals time right now. So if you're in one of these supermarket areas, you get 30% off or whatever. It's a fantastic deal. You'll be able to get this bottle for like $80. So
Excellent. I'm not that exquisite. I just have a Robert Mondavi cab, but still my favorite
lovely
blend. Yes. Rags, what you have a beverage that starts with a Z or something?
Yeah, I'm drinking Zen right now.
Okay.
And that's coupled with Coke Zero. Now, this is the new you can't find this often at this discounted price. Typically, it's about $2.50 per medium size. Coke Zero, zero sugar, and now, ladies and gentlemen, zero caffeine. So that's what we're drinking today.
Yeah. Rum, whiskey in there? No.
Nope. Negative Ghost Rider.
Okay. Just checking. Just
keep my wits about me.
And I can't see what Chillin is drinking, but I would put you as like a Grey Goose kind of gangster.
Cavassier, man. Look at that.
No, I'm 10 and a half years sober. So I'm drinking
good for you, brother.
Cream soda flavored stevia flavored soda.
I do enjoy that.
I love
cream soda stevia.
Soda. Yeah.
Another brand.
Outstanding. And chat, feel free to put what you are drinking in there. What's up, DJ and Dougie, Red Squirrel, Frederico Quotes. Yes, he is making the rounds. He's everywhere. We're glad to have him
everywhere.
On happy hour. Eshtar, Squid, Crispy Man. Good to see you, man. Sandy Beach, always around. I saw Matty Allen in there somewhere. There he is. Merry Christmas, Quinn. Favorite of the show as well, and a bunch of others.
Bringing out some legends.
We have a little legendary subscriber base as one of the, I guess, year one shows, I want to say. So it's still cool to see so many people. I mean, you were talking about community. It's cool to see people after, all these years, a lot of the same ones in the chat. So,
well, that's the thing, right? Like there's the ones that stick around, and then you also think about, like, every once in a while you'd be like, oh, whatever happened to XYZ? And like they just kind of faded away. And it's like it's really impressive, all the people that truly stick around.
Well, you know what brings a lot of them back? That if you've never seen, if you haven't seen them back in like 3 years, Green Candles brings them out of the woodwork.
All of a sudden you get that "Hey stranger" DM.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
You'll see this Twitter account you followed like 3 years ago, and it's just like, oh, well, I'm still following you evidently, and why are you in my timeline? Oh, look at the chart. So, but yeah, good stuff. What's Trust Titan X Plan? Good to see you. Cryptodamus, what's going on? Ash, what's up? Got some gang over from the Twitch Brigade as well. I think we were just talking, some brief intros into Pulse Chain Hex, and Big K even, shed a little wee light on his story. Rags, man, I don't even know for as long as we've known each other. What can you give us like a brief intro of how you ended up in this Hexagon Pulse Chain community? I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah. 2013 or maybe like 2012, there was a guy on Facebook that kept shilling Bitcoin, and he kept saying, all right, price is this, and then price is that, kept going up. And he was like, hit me up if you want to know more. Guys, this is your last chance. Opportunity. So I messaged him. And he's like, yeah, I'll meet up with you. It's only $150. I'll tell you everything I know. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. $150. I go meet with this guy. It's like a coffee shop. and he's into Bitcoin mining. And, he's telling me, I'm asking him questions about how it works, and he's teaching me about Bitcoin. I set up my Coinbase account in like 2013, I believe. And I start, kind of learning about crypto and Bitcoin mining. 2016, 2017, obviously the price creeps up for about 2 years straight, going back to 2016 or so, 2015. And I talked to him about mining. So I buy my first ASIC. It's like, 13.5 terahash. Then I buy another ASIC, and I buy another, and then I buy 2 ASICs, and then I buy 5 ASICs. And I'm, the customs is calling me up because I've got these huge shipments from Hong Kong, and they're asking me what these freaking machines are inside, and trying to get them to stamp it and let it through. And so, I got into mining way too late. Long story short, I was just, I was stupid. I didn't really understand what I was getting myself into. I trusted this guy. He's just using me for exit liquidity, but I learned a lot.
Welcome to crypto.
Yeah. He was trying to offload his machines right before the halvening, I think. And I bought a couple of them. So, but it's okay. I figure that a $2,000 power bill probably wasn't worth it for $200 worth of Bitcoin.
That's what I always joke about, right? Like I was the house wiring that I was running this mining farm through. Like I can't believe I didn't burn down the house.
That I was so afraid because I have a house built in the 1920s, and it's like knob and tooth wiring. It's just crazy. And I said, if this thing catches a spark, my whole family's done.
It's over.
And you're right, dude. I had to pull like 60 amp service down in my basement and all this. And I said, okay, I'm just going to buy it and hold it from now on. And then, I made a lot of mistakes going into 2017, 2018. I lost a lot, but I didn't give up. I kept learning. And then everything went on fire sale in 2019. So I remember I bought bought Dogecoin at maybe 2 pennies. Maybe between 1 and 3 pennies, somewhere in there. I bought Luna because that was the rage back then. You buy Matic and you buy Link, and you buy a bunch of others, and I wrote it up and I did well. And I was also like doing real estate at the time and kind of using some of those profits, rolling it back in crypto. And my friends were like, hey, you should make a Telegram group and bring us in and kind of teach us about this, because I didn't really have much time. So they made the Telegram group for me. They invited me in, and they would ask me questions. And then that's not scalable. I didn't have time to answer all these questions all the time. So I started making YouTube videos. So I think I had more of like a political tinge. I think one of my YouTube.
Nah.
Yeah, right. I think it was like, does Karl Marx like Bitcoin? That was the thumbnail. And I went into like all the reasons why I think he would or wouldn't. And then I ran across, I was looking at the charts. I don't exactly remember why I decided to do this, but I was a channel that was getting like 50 to 100 views, and I saw Hex. So I started like researching it, and I saw it was very controversial, and all the videos I saw were people just trashing it. And I said, what is this all about? So I started digging into it. I started listening. I think one of the first people I listened to was Whales Only back in the day, and he was going over it and he was showing his charts, and it intrigued me. So then I'm the type of person, it's like if somebody's misrepresenting the truth, I like to come in and kind of say, no, hold on, that's actually not the case. I make one video, and YouTube did its purpose and its job. It found hexagons. And I remember like posting a video about hex, and like the next day I come, and remember, I'm used to 50 or 100 views. And I had like 2,000 or 3,000 views on this video, like within the first 48 hours. I'm like, what is this? And the comments never stopped. And I was like, oh my gosh. And here's what it was. Hexkins had been at war and been at battle with the BTC people and broader crypto for such a long time that they were begging for allies, and they were begging for somebody to give them a fair shake. And it was completely on accident. I remember, I even on stream like an idiot. I wish I had done this, but I staked a bunch of hex live on stream, and I showed everybody and this and that. And, I was making hex videos, and then learn about Pulse Chain. And, I had seen Richard Hart on Twitter. The top hat is what sticks in my mind. And I'd been following him for maybe a year, and I remember him talking about big payday and this and that, but I didn't get into hex until late 2020, and I didn't really start telling people that I got into hex until 2021. But it just went from there. Pulse Chain shows up. I wanted to build on Pulse Chain. I got contacted by Crypto Heartbeat to build on Pulse Chain. So we got a game plan together to launch our thing with the TNM, a 501c4 nonprofit in Texas, and from there, man, I've stood up a company at this point. I'm building a lot of cool projects for people on Ethereum in the Titanx ecosystem, also people on Pulse Chain. We recently launched Gelato, which is doing pretty well. I've helped a lot of people out, and I'm just here to build my own world because I know that Pulse Chain is permissionless and Ethereum is permissionless, and I'm just going to create the thing that I want. I'm going to shape it the way that I want, and that's how I'm here.
That's cool.
Yep.
See, I never knew that story.
Yeah.
The full story. So yeah, cool of you to share, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
I love how we all have like our own unique onboarding, and we kind of went through these ups and downs and found our way, and eventually we all ended up here in this room together.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's awesome.
Just the stories. I mean, you could probably pull just groups out of this chat that is, on this channel, and they could tell their own, fireside chats with Big K. There are war stories and initiation stories in the crypto. So yeah, it's been a ride, man. And I tell anybody, it's like one of my favorite. Probably my favorite thing out of this is cool. Like the money's obviously why pretty much anybody gets into it. But this community is something that I never thought would have been the excellent bonus of all bonuses that it has been over the years. Just the meetups and get-togethers, getting to hang out with, Big K, across the country, and meeting, Brandon from BuildTheTech.com, and Freddie Quotes is in the chat. A bunch of others I think are in the chat that I've met in person too. That's the cool stuff, man, because I've been friends with these guys for years now, and looking forward to whatever the next big event is that we can all hang out again. And it's all because of oh hey, we took a dive into this crypto thing, but we're in it for the long term, and I believe all these dudes are good dudes and good ladies, the ones that I've met too. So, it's just a good group of people.
And it's crazy too, because you're so used to talking to people on stream, and then you finally meet people in person, and you think it's going to be weird and awkward, but it's not. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's like you pick up right where you left off, So that was a cool effect.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll say go ahead, bro.
No, I was just saying, I've been doing community building a long time. Before I live streamed, I came from the other side. The money side is actually super awesome to me, Cabana. And it's the community side is kick ass too. Don't get me wrong. But I've been doing that a long time. A lot of cool places. I used to work doing music festivals, doing artist relations, hospitality. That's what we did. We build a whole community, take it down, take it somewhere else, do it again, all over the place. And I'm super big fan of that. So being able to do it with a crypto that was, in its own way, had to, be forged in fire by being, treated, very poorly by BTC maxis along the way, as well as, it's a unique, interesting group of people, just the whole premise of staking your coins, to make some sort of profit in the future, as opposed to what the rest of crypto was wildly different. I didn't tell anybody. I was in crypto since 2016, didn't tell anybody about any of this, friends, family, other people I knew, until Hex came along. It was the first thing that I found that I was I think this is actually going to be going to do well and has good ethos of delayed gratification works in crypto as well as in personal development and other stuff too. So it was this really culmination for me of oh, this is an awesome community for all of these awesome reasons. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, as far as it goes, why we're all kind of here. I mean, every one of us is pretty cool in our own right, and it would make sense that we're all here hanging out.
Absolutely. And the one thing I was gonna say is I had a tweet about this a week ago. I am so grateful for crypto for giving me financial literacy that I probably otherwise wouldn't have had, because crypto is so much cooler than the stock market and stuff like that. Like, it's exciting and there's like real communities built around it. And I feel like that onboarded me on my financial journey to where I ended up learning about all these other tools too, because crypto made it so fun and exciting. And then I started like, okay, well, how can I secure my wealth and protect it or whatever? You know what I mean? I learned about all the different financial instruments because of crypto.
Yeah, 1000%. I didn't know a lot about any of that shit until I had something to, actually put into it. So yeah, it's a big difference for me, for sure. I learned a ton over the past few years.
Dude, that's such a good point, man. It's like you get into crypto initially because you think you can just make $1 billion overnight. The reality sets in, but then you get exposed to people who are speaking truth about what's wrong with our financial system. And let's face it, like, if you're outside of crypto, it's such a vast and wide problem that we don't even look at it really. We're like, I can't even comprehend what's happening. I'm just going to live my life. But now cryptocurrency highlights the problems, and we start to follow a different path, a path of like, hey, let's change this shit, because now we have the technology to do it. So I really like that point that you brought up there.
Yeah, no, that is super true. I mean, I think about like my journey of like what I blocked Richard when I saw him debate Roger Ver, and like the idea that like those were the two personalities debating, block size, not actually like they're on the same page about so many other things, that's the debate that we're having, that I'm like blocking people over. It's pretty funny in its own right, because there is some awesome thought leaders that I've learned a ton from over the past 5 years, 6 years, So, 8 years since we've started messing with crypto shit.
Yeah, Briz says he and Brandon did a video about securing your wealth. The video is called "How to Hide Crypto from Your Wife."
It was great.
Leave it to Briz. Yeah, and along the lines of like, just talking like intro to crypto, like being from more of like a traditional finance, and that's like, the background that I came from. And coming into crypto, it's like the price action was on steroids, obviously.
But how is your risk tolerance? Like, because obviously traditional finance is very, like, I don't want to say anti-crypto, but they view it as a very risky investment. So like, how did you break that idea in your head?
Well, I mean, I'm still, I would like to say, on the younger side of traditional finance investors. So my mind is quite open to a lot of these things, and a lot of my peers were kind of the age of like still looking into it and be like, hey, this is still pretty interesting. Not like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, this is rat poison, I don't get it, old man yells at cloud kind of thing. All respect the Buffett legend and Charlie Munger, rest in peace. But it was, that didn't really, come into the equation for me. I was like totally open to it, and it was the gains and life-changing wealth, and kind of like what Rag said, it's like, not necessarily, I didn't expect to get $1 billion, but maybe a few million instantly. No, just kidding. But the potential was there for outsized returns, and Richard Hart, says that, quite a bit, and trying to, get ahead or, maximizing your wealth. And who doesn't? It's, I did good, 10%, 50% a year is cool, but have you looked into crypto? And then it's like you could do 100x in like a week, or like if you're in a meme coin or something, like 10 seconds. And it was just quite the experience in seeing, I guess, the price action. I guess that's where I started talking about this. It desensitized me going back. So being in TradFi and stocks and and that sort of investing style and long-term hold and dividends and all that, coming into crypto, and it's like, okay, wow, this is like a totally different but really could be really lucrative area of my portfolio. And then coming back into traditional finance, always having that there, but going back, I don't want to say go back because I never left it, but just in terms of having that crypto experience and then perhaps, viewing your portfolio on the traditional finance side, it's nothing. Like the moves are nothing, the dips are nothing. It's like you're unfazed because
like, oh,
of what you see
3%. What's that?
right, because of what you see in crypto. Like you could have like these flash crashes like we had in August, I guess, to the yen carry trade, and I'm just like, oh baby, like this is a nice little 10% dip. Daddy's like wiring some funds into the the investing account kind of thing, and that type of stuff gets me excited. And I think I would argue, just like a lot of hex folk got quite excited when they saw that dip below a penny, I guess.
Yes.
Oh man, I was
around
buying
Christmas.
heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's the type of action that if you had like no experience in crypto and you come in and then your investment just gets cut in half, like that's welcome to crypto. That is like that's what can happen. And if you can handle that, then you can pretty much handle about everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I stumbled into it was complete accident for me. I was a gamer nerd, I was playing video games on my graphics card, and somebody was like, "Hey, if you," in a forum about Dota, so somebody was like, "Hey, if you turn on your card, you can make $3, $3 a day on Monero."
Yeah,
and I didn't even know about Bitcoin or none of that shit. And I was like, next thing I knew, I had a fuck ton of these Monero things. And I went on Poloniex to sell. So I saw that on the whatever screen, my Monero shit. It was like, oh, it went from $3 to $30. And I thought I was a fucking genius. I sold.
That's how mine was, dude. I built
I sold
it
all at $30, and then that bull run, like 6 months later, went to $360 a Monero, and you're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was the same with me. I built it like a really beastly editing computer because I'm real into graphic arts and stuff like that. And then I just happened to watch a YouTube video that was like earn passive income with your graphics card. So I started mining ETH, and I was like, holy shit, like I'm making like $4 a day just running my computer 24/7. I was like, I could scale this. And then I just like leveraged credit and bought a whole fucking mining farm.
Yeah.
I tossed the business plan to a buddy of mine, and he was like, "Hey, how's $500,000 sound?" And I was like, "Sure, sounds good." And we built a big facility, and I lost 80% of that shit, and had to really. That was 2018. That was like. Everything was
worst time ever.
Yeah. So I had to go to him that summer and be like, dog, I think I lost all your money. And he was like,
well, that's interesting to me though, right? Because like obviously there's people that joined because they thought they were going to get unbelievably wealthy, whereas with me, I joined because it was like a passive income type thing, right? And initially when I bought Bitcoin, it was more like a fuck you to the government, because I've always been kind of like a libertarian, and I was just like, oh, this is cool. Like I never thought I was going to get rich from it. Right. Yeah, but then the 2017 happened, and all of a sudden the prices you're talking about, like you just start going, whoa. And like, I remember looking at my like portfolio tracker, and I said to myself, I was like, this feels illegal. Like,
oh yeah, I've slung some other things in my day, and I know what come-ups feel like, and I'm all like, wow, this is crazy.
Stupid numbers on this thing from a smaller amount that you put in, and it's just like, how is this real?
Mm-hmm. No, it's wild. It was wild. That was an exciting era, and like you said, I learned from then to now the amount that I've learned about finance and my own well-being and wealth preservation, all of the different stuff that like I hadn't. That was not even I was playing video games on the internet when I started all this shit. That's literally where it started from. So yeah, it's a long ass wild journey. It's super crazy, but onward and upward. We got so much cool shit going on now. I'm super excited about.
Absolutely. And for anybody out there that's like new or still learning, like that first pump in 2017, I pretty much round tripped the whole thing. I didn't make hardly any money. Like I held on to my bags. I ended up underwater. Like I don't think I lost money, but I had insane gains on paper that I didn't cash out. And it's like, I was a learning experience. I basically got baptized into crypto, and by the next bull run, I played it perfectly. And now I'm in my third one, and I feel like I'm even better positioned than in the first two. So it's like there's definitely a learning curve, and anybody that bought the top or that's down bad right now, like you kind of are paying your dues and learning how market cycles work, and you're figuring out what's good to invest in, what's bad to invest in, when to buy, when to sell, and that's all part of it. So don't feel bad about that.
The market teaches you the lessons that you need to learn, and you can't stop it from doing that. Yep.
And you can't really learn them just on like out of a book. Like you kind of got to live it.
You got to feel that feeling, like I've known that, that buy or sell feeling. It's like a serious gut check that until you've been through it, you don't know what that feels like when you're like, oh, this is the time.
I think it helps to know like history and realizing that this cycle will not be the last cycle. So that helps with selling too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are mad at me because I'm like, guys, I'm looking forward to the next bear market.
No.
See?
Yes. That's the way I think, though. I want cheap prices.
Yeah. I'm like, position yourself.
All
like,
right.
Up.
No, you brought up a really good debate, right? Because this is what I'm worried about. Everybody's all excited about Trump and, kind of adopting crypto with the U.S.
8 years from now?
Right. Here's what I'm saying, though, right? Like that's exciting and it could lead to massive pumps. But like, what if that ends up stabilizing crypto to where we don't get these big swings of volatility? And it
I feel you. You're 1,000%. I mean, like the cycles have been the cycles because each time around you get a new group of savvy investors to all in this shit hard. We got the libertarian gold bugs early on. You got the tech bros after that. You got the Wall Street people last cycle. And now like it seems primed we get the governments to buy into this shit fucking this time around. Like that's what seems to be the primer of this pump next time around. And like if that's the case, like who the fuck are we going to get to buy the next cycle?
Aliens? Why do you think the UFOs are here right now? Why do you think the drones are here?
That's fine.
They're about to ape. They're about to ape.
If the 2029 cycle is based on aliens aping in,
yep.
I'm all in. It sounds great.
Bro, you have no idea. They have the technology to harvest asteroids, man. So that's a lot of financial energy that's going into Bitcoin.
You can't get no Bitcoin. They're going to have to buy that shit, So like, I mean, I see it all. I like it. I like where your head's at, though, that like, it's there's definitely some chance for, each cycle is not as huge of pumps as there was last cycle. So like the more that this becomes mainstream part of general finance as is, then you'll see, sure, we'll see meme coins of all different flavors and varieties that allow people, lottery-like chances at extreme gains. But I do think that at some point in time, massive, seeing 10x, 100x's each cycle from core coins that are, legit products going forward, $100 billion projects going forward isn't going to be the norm for in 10, 20 years. We're definitely, there's an S curve. We're going to hit the, some sort of asymptote or that we're getting closer to. And like, that's fine. That's cool. I mean, it's cool to be like, it's cool on all of it. It's cool to get the adoption that we wanted out of a product that can change the way, man's relationship with government. It's cool that, to be part and early enough in it. It's cool enough to where I still feel like we're early enough in it to where I'm still telling people, hey, this is a good time to probably get your hands on some of this shit, but it'll be cool once it's all, there's some more stability in it too. I'm fine with that.
Well, that's why I like post-chain, right? Because post-chain feels early.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. We definitely have a lot of those early feels, and the community is strong. And like we haven't had our moment to shine. I'm starting to see it, like hear bits and pieces of it on Twitter. Some bigger accounts that are starting to notice, the airdrops and freebies that they've gotten along the way. So I do see we're getting there. We're getting there. I mean, you're here. It's a good sign.
Yeah, man. Well, speaking of crypto and introductions to crypto and this show, I mean, there's been a little something that we've been doing for years now, and it's one of the more polarizing things that we do on this show.
Uh-oh.
But we haven't done it in a minute, so I figured, we have a group of a nice group here of three.
Am I about to get jumped?
Y'all. Goodbye, sir.
No, you're wearing neutral colors. You're
wearing. Yeah. No, you got the gold teeth, man. We're the ones
get the grill.
Yeah. That's right. Morpheus.win. Let's do a little old school trivia with the boys, shall we?
Oh, wow.
All right.
So
Ready.
I had the pleasure of being on Hexy Bastards year-end crypto trivia show last night and crushed it in a last place standing. And so I promised to try to come back next year and answer questions on meme coins and whatnot way better than I did my 35% score this year. But this one will be a little bit easier since it's the end of the year. We'll kind of the theme will be like a year in review, news, maybe little crypto, little Richard Hart, but more so like world events. And so what I always tell our participants, I believe these two gentlemen, Big K and Brandon, have done this before, but Mr. Shill, please, all of you, turn off your interfaces so you cannot see chat. And
no cheating.
Yeah, and
chat's gonna give you the answers.
That's right, because
so
chat likes
think.
to participate, so we encourage them to
So
participate.
I wouldn't trust them.
I will repeat each question. I know Brandon doesn't like me to do that. He just blurts out the answer. But
patience.
For the audience engagement purposes, I like to at least let them answer. But
that was a really cool way of reminding me. Thank you for
no problem. I'm here to
it.
help. That's my duties as host. So my duty as host also is to get you guys out of the first round. So I try to make the first round easy as possible. So we'll just go around the room and we'll go clockwise here. Big K.
Yes, sir.
Name any member of the new / upcoming Trump Vance administration. Just give me one.
Come
on, man.
I was gonna say Donald Trump.
Doesn't matter what they do.
No. I don't know.
They don't have to have an official title. Come on, you guys have got this.
Okay. Oh! Elon Musk is doing and then Vivek are doing the.
There you go.
Cutting
the Doge.
They're cutting them all out. They're setting.
Dude, he just burned two answers, man. You burned two answers for us.
Burn two
That's
answers.
strategic. He did it on purpose.
Technically, somebody could use one of those. So, Rags, give me somebody in the admin.
I don't live in the States anymore. My politics are real. Sorry, my bad. That's. Whew.
Mr. Vance, Vice President Vance.
There you go. And Mr. Shill, anybody in the...
I got to go with Tulsi Gabbard because I have a big crush on her.
Nice pull. Nice.
Is it that strand of gray?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
she's like one of the X-Men or something.
I do it.
All right. I have a lot of questions here, so let's do double elimination. And if we have a couple guys left at the end, we'll do a tiebreaker. So keep track of eliminations here. We'll start off with some Richard Hart tweets. Big K. Richard Hart recently tweeted, "My whole life I've been preparing for the future, anticipating it, creating it. I've never been blank, and I'm excited for the future. What blank has he never been?"
Safer.
I was about to repeat the question. Big
I'm sorry. I knew it. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, I said it too fast. I did the thing that we just talked about.
Just mute us right before we just...
Exactly. Yeah. Good job, chat. Sadie Beach. Safer is the correct answer. On to Brandon. A Richard Hart tweet for each of you. So this Richard Hart tweet was recent. All right, here it is. If the blanks really wanted to get me down, they could raise more than the 27 million I did for medical research, write free self-help books, better than my sci-fi, and fix the world. work in the courts for legal precedent for P2P publishing software, and the list goes on. I'll repeat it one more time. If the blanks really wanted to get me down, they could raise more than the 27 million, write free self-help books, work in the courts for legal precedent, yada yada. Who are the blanks?
Those I'm just kidding. The haters, right? I think the haters.
Answer is the haters.
Survey says haters.
Good job. Good job to all in chat who got those. The Reels, what's up? Yes, Toblerone, the criminals that be. Shill Gates.
I'm sweating.
Uh-oh, here we go. It's all right. It's a double elimination, so you can get one wrong if you need to.
Right.
$300,000 of Pulse X were burnt yesterday because... Oh, I'm sorry. This is also a Richard Hart tweet. $300,000 of Pulse X were burnt yesterday because the burn goes up with volume. Also, farmers and LPs and stable LPs profit on volume. No middlemen. Blank that you download and execute from the comfort of your own home. What is blank? I'll repeat it one more time. $300,000 of Pulse X burnt yesterday because the burn goes up with volume. Also, farmers and LPs and stable LPs profit on volume. No middlemen. Blank that you download and execute from the comfort of your own home. What is blank?
It's got to be software.
It's got to be software. He's very confident with this. The correct answer is not porn. It is Sandy Beach software.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Excellent
sir.
job,
I
Jed.
actually have it downloaded on my computer. That's how I know that.
We did it. That was what we did for demo day here in Blockchain Puerto Rico week, as we showed everyone how to download and execute the software themselves. Check the hash.
Nice.
Sure, it's legit.
Shout out to another OG hexiest man in the world saying hello in the chat. Adds to the list of OGs.
Lovely.
What's going
He
on?
is
All
very
right.
hexy.
All right. On we go to the year in review. In no particular difficulty order. They might get harder as we get down the list here, but so far, everybody is alive with the two eliminations. Nobody's gotten a strike yet. Republican, Big K. Donald Trump won the popular vote over Democrat Kamala Harris. By what margin in the U.S. election?
Ooh,
These are all multiple choice, by the way, so I'll
Okay.
give 1.5%, 3.8%, 4.5%, or 5.2%. Republican Donald Trump won the popular vote over Democrat Kamala Harris. By what margin in the U.S. presidential election? 1.5%, 3.8%, 4.5%, or 5.2%.
I'm
Big K,
surprised.
what say you?
5.2? Was it the max? I'm gonna go with the biggest. 5.2. Final answer.
I'm sorry, Big K. That is the worst answer you could have given, as the popular vote was only within 1.5%. Millions of votes, so 1.5.
Well, listen here. I told you already that if you want me out of this competition, you know my.
You are still alive, sir, so it's okay.
It's all right. I'll take
Double elimination for a reason.
take a strike.
All right, Brandon. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad was ousted from power in a swift and stunning rebellion. Which country granted him asylum? Iran,
Fireplace winner.
Canada, Mexico, or Russia? Syrian President Bashar al-Assad was ousted from power in a swift and stunning rebellion. Which country granted him asylum? Iran, Canada, Mexico, or Russia?
The Ruskies. Russia. Final answer.
Final answer. Just Live confirms it's Russia. All right. Shill Gates.
Yes, sir.
What city on this earth hosted this year's Summer Olympics? London, Madrid, Paris, or Rome? Which city hosted the Summer Olympics of this year? London, Madrid, Paris, or Rome?
It was Paris, and I only remember because they did a whole bunch of weird stuff in the opening
Yeah,
ceremony.
that's right.
There you go. You remember that. Everybody remembers that weird shit.
Weird.
And you are correct. And sad that that's what we remember. from
Correct.
that.
That's how we
all I
remember.
I also
Those are
remember Ray Gun would also be another acceptable.
Oh yeah, Ray
Oh,
Gun.
Lord.
The meme.
Ray Gun.
She retired because we were too mean to her. Oh, poor thing.
Saw that.
All right. Big K, you have one strike left. Eric
Yeah,
Adams.
I don't know who that is. But let's go.
Mayor Eric Adams was
Oh, that helps. That helps.
indicted on public corruption charges. He serves as mayor of what city? Detroit, Los Angeles, New York, or Chicago? Eric Adams was indicted on public corruption charges. He serves as mayor of which city? Detroit, Los Angeles, New York, or Chicago?
I do know quite a bit about Chicago corruption. As a previous resident, I do tend to keep up on all the corrupt Chicago mayors, and he wasn't in that list. Detroit, they've turned it around recently. It's really a sight to behold. I used to be like, Detroit, but no,
Yeah.
it's coming along. But I do recall this gentleman, New York. He's the New York guy. He's the New York guy because there was jokes about it, on all the big things about Rudy doing a better job, or I don't know, just other hilarious jokes about him doing the timing of it was super suspect. It was, New York.
New York is the correct answer. Good job. Big K.
Yeah,
Oh.
I got that one. Let's keep it rolling.
All right. Where are we at here? Let's see. Brandon from BuildTech.com. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down outside a New York City hotel. Speaking of New York, where was the suspect captured? An airport, a Starbucks, a McDonald's, or a Burger King? United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down outside a New York City hotel. Where was the suspect captured? The airport, Starbucks, McDonald's, or Burger King?
That one's difficult for me. I don't know. I think it's McDonald's. I think it is.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that's gonna be my final answer.
DJ and Dougie confirms.
McDonald's.
McDonald's. Rayman, John May,
I thought
The Reels. A lot of people.
there was
who followed.
something about a Starbucks involved with it, though, wasn't there?
Yeah, I thought it was between Starbucks and McDonald's in my head, but
something about that.
McDonald memes are what helped me out.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
I kind of just threw the Starbucks in there for an answer, but perhaps for good reason.
I remember the jokes about how he had a manifesto against capitalism, but then was arrested using free Wi-Fi at McDonald's.
Yes.
Chef's kiss to that.
Chef's kiss.
Perfect.
Mr. Shill Gates, a cargo ship crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge in which city, causing that bridge to collapse? Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Boston, or Philadelphia? A cargo ship crashed into the FSK Bridge in which city, causing it to collapse? Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Boston, or Philadelphia?
Well, I am from Philadelphia, so I know it wasn't Philadelphia. I was just in Pittsburgh, and I found out they had a bridge that actually caught on fire, which is pretty crazy, and there's a video of it, so I know it's not there. I'm going with Baltimore.
The answer of Baltimore, 3D frequency confirms, is correct. Excellent work. Excellent work. All right, these start to slowly step up in scale here. Not just yet. This Big K, you're probably going to get an easy one. Look at the luck on this man. Big K, which NFL team won the Super Bowl for the second year in a row? The Cincinnati Bengals, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, or San Francisco 49ers?
Oh, man, I know this one.
Oh, boy. Which NFL team won the Super Bowl for the second year in a row? The Bengals, the Eagles, the Chiefs, or the 49ers?
I can tell you who it wasn't. We'll start out with who it wasn't. It definitely wasn't the Chicago Bears. I don't know if you watched that display of awfulness last night.
Both sides were terrible, but yeah.
It was a race to the bottom, and the chanting for "sell the team" afterwards that was like overtaking the commentators was pretty awesome. It was the Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone's a huge fan. You got, Taylor Swift bringing a whole new generation, a whole new age demographic of viewers to the field. Who didn't watch all of that?
Shout out to my fellow Swifties.
Yeah, that's right. I know how to shake it off.
Oh boy,
I stay out too late.
Yep. Oh boy, I'm done.
All that.
We're just getting started.
Disqualified. Brandon, which hurricane made landfall in Florida and wreaked havoc across the southeast, including deadly flooding in North Carolina? Milton, Debbie, Helene, or Beryl? Which hurricane made landfall in Florida and wreaked havoc across the southeast, including deadly flooding in North Carolina? Milton, Debbie, Helene, or Beryl? PDC says his ex-wife. But,
that is Hurricane Helene. Yes, final answer.
Yes, final answer.
Yes.
Sandy Beach confirms it is Hurricane Helene. Mr. Shill Gates, on to you, sir. In our year-end summary trivia, which movie won Best Picture at the 96 Academy Awards?
96
Academy Awards. That was this year, so it's a year in review. So you're all good. Barbie, Maestro, Killers of the Flower Moon, or Oppenheimer? Which movie won Best Picture at the 96 Academy Awards? Barbie, Maestro, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, the 96th.
Sixth.
TH. Okay.
Oh, I'm thinking you're saying 1996.
I know. I was
the 96. Yeah.
Okay,
I immediately was in my head thinking Titanic.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if that's...
Yeah. Titanic? No, but it might have been. Yeah, that might have been the year. All right.
All right, can you read the
Yes,
answers
sir.
again? Because I was like scrambling in my
The
brain.
96th Academy Awards Best Picture was Barbie, Maestro,
It's not Barbie.
Killers of the Flower Moon, or Oppenheimer.
All right, well, I don't know what Maestro or the other one is, so I got to go with Oppenheimer.
I love the process of elimination. It worked out for you as
Let's
Oppenheimer
go.
was it.
Yep.
All
Solid
right.
work.
Here we go. Big K, there were 2 assassination attempts on President-elect Donald Trump's life. Where did they take place? Florida and California? What happened?
Well, I was gonna say it on his ear, but no,
Oh.
I get that's
Well, one
different place.
hit him. But yeah. But you're in review, so here we go. There were 2 assassination attempts on President-elect Donald Trump's life. Where did they take place? Florida and California, New York and PA, PA and Florida, or New York and DC? There were 2 assassination attempts on President-elect Donald Trump's life and former president. Where did they take place? Florida and California, New York and Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania and Florida, or New York and DC?
I don't know, man. I knew Florida's got to be in there. It's like just such a Florida thing. You know?
Right.
We just Florida
Florida man.
We just Florida so
American
hard down there.
presidents.
Yeah, just for the shit of it down there, you know. Florida, California. You know, why not? I forgot the other one. I feel like it was in the middle of nowhere though. It was like in some like barns in the middle of it. Like should have really been why. Like how they didn't catch that dude earlier. I don't remember. It seemed really silly. But I'll say Florida, California.
The final answer
Sure.
is Florida and
I hate it when you say final answer because I'm probably going to get it's
Pennsylvania.
wrong. I knew it. I knew I was wrong as soon as you said
Butler,
that.
Pennsylvania.
Butler, Pennsylvania.
Big
Butler,
K,
take me out of here.
you've
I'm
been
gone.
rugged. All right. All right. Onward we go, gents. And then there were two. Both of you have not had a
Undefeated.
strike, right?
Yeah.
All right. Brandon, which country elected its first female president this year? Nigeria, Brazil, Mexico, or Pakistan? Which country elected its first female president this year? Nigeria, Brazil, Mexico, or Pakistan?
Mexico, final answer.
Mexico,
Yeah.
final answer, confirmed by Franklin St. Hex.
Boom. Got it.
Mexico and the real.
She doesn't like the U.S. too much.
No, she does not. And,
She's a globalist, a dirty globalist.
that's right.
Fiery Latina.
Yeah, that too.
Shill Gates, President Joe Biden dropped out of the race after what happened? He was hospitalized. He did poorly in the debate. The Supreme Court removed him from the ballot. He shit himself on national TV.
I was gonna say Obama pressured George Clooney into yelling at him.
Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race after what happened? He was hospitalized. He did poorly in the debate. The Supreme Court removed him from the ballot, or he shit himself on national television.
I'm gonna say a double answer. I think he probably did shit himself at the debate, but it was the debate.
It was the debate is correct, even though everyone wants to go with the fun answer. But yeah, it was the debate. So yes, correct. Man. All right. We're going down the question list. Here we go. Brandon, which troubled test flight left 2 astronauts in space far longer than planned this year? Artemis 2, Polaris Dawn, SpaceX Crew 9, or the Boeing Starliner? Which troubled test flight left 2 astronauts in space far longer than they planned? Artemis 2, Polaris Dawn, SpaceX Crew 9, or Boeing Starliner?
That one's.
These are getting tougher.
I feel like I've heard a couple of those names too, so it makes it confusing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. That's difficult. I've got 2 potential answers in my head, but I'm gonna go. Repeat the answers once more.
We have which troubled test flight left 2 astronauts in space for far longer than planned? Artemis 2, Polaris Dawn, SpaceX Crew 9, or Boeing Starliner?
Well, I don't think it's SpaceX because I think Elon Musk had to bail out the U.S. government. I don't think it's Boeing. I don't think it's Boeing. Polaris and Artemis. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna go with Artemis. Hopefully that's it.
Final answer, Artemis?
Yes.
The answer is gotten by only 2 people in chat. Boeing Starliner. Hex Squid, nice job. Lights out. I think you were answering, but yes, it is a joke because SpaceX did have to go rescue them. So,
Yes, Elon to the rescue.
Elon to the rescue. All right, y'all brought up Taylor Swift earlier, so there had to be a Taylor Swift question for the end of 2024, and Mr. Shill Gates gets it.
I'm actually not a Taylor Swift fan. I was joking.
That's a plus.
Well, y'all brought it up, so somebody was going to get it. So here we go. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is the highest grossing concert tour in history? Which solo artist held the previous record? Pink, Beyonce, Elton John, or Ed Sheeran? Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is the highest grossing concert tour in history. Which solo artist held the previous record? Pink, Beyonce, Elton John, Ed Sheeran.
I don't think it's Pink. I know Taylor Swift and Beyonce have like a heated rivalry for numbers. I'm gonna say Beyonce.
The correct answer is Mr. Elton John.
Oh,
Hey. And now we are down to the last strike. Here we
getting
go,
heated.
gents. Here we go. Let's see. Brandon,
Mm-hmm.
a total solar eclipse this past April created stunning views in North America. When is the next total solar eclipse with the coast-to-coast path across the United States scheduled to occur?
Oh God.
2026, 2032, 2038, 2045. A total solar eclipse in April created stunning views in North America. When is the next total solar eclipse with a coast-to-coast path across the United States going to happen? 2026, 2032, 2038, 2045.
I don't feel like they happen entirely too often to that scale. Oh, I want to go out long. I'm probably going to do 2045. Just roll with it.
2045 is his final answer?
Yes.
The answer is, and you're the only one to get it because nobody in chat got it, 2045. Congratulations.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right. Must win or a must answer for Shill Gates, or Rags walks away with it. Here we go. Shortly after the November election, President Joe Biden pardoned his son, Hunter, who faced sentencing on which charges? Drug possession, insurance fraud, money laundering, gun possession, and taxes.
Gun possession and taxes. Final.
Oh, we didn't even wait.
All
Is
right.
that your final answer?
Sorry, I'm in the zone right now. Yeah, gun possession and taxes.
Gun possession and taxes is the final answer, and it is correct. Here we go. These are the last two questions. We're going to have to go to a tiebreaker if y'all get these right. But they're high on the difficulty scale as we are at the final two.
That eclipse one was crazy.
He reasoned through it. That was good
that was
stuff.
impressive.
Yeah. Which tennis legend, Brandon, because you're all about tennis. I know the Vikings are. Which tennis legend, known as the King of Clay, retired after winning 22 Grand Slam singles titles during his career? Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, or Andy Murray? Which tennis legend, known as the King of Clay, retired after winning 22 Grand Slam singles titles during his career? Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, or Andy Murray?
That is tough, man.
That's right.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Federer, I don't think it's Federer. I definitely know it's not. I don't think it's Andy Murray. I'm just gonna roll with. I'll go with Nadal. I think it's Nadal.
Rafael Nadal, final answer.
Yeah.
The chat was split over Federer and Nadal. The correct answer is Rafael Nadal,
Okay.
as
Wow.
identified by Hex Mining Hodler, which
Pressure.
means
Pressure.
Mr. Shill Gates is under the pressure cooker now because he's got to get this to get to the tiebreaker for all the marbles. Here we go. Which Russian opposition leader died in a penal colony under mysterious circumstances? Ilya Yashin, Alexei Navalny, Vladimir Kara-Murza, or Evgeny Prigozhin? Which Russian opposition leader died in a penal colony under mysterious circumstances? Ilya Yashin, Alexei Navalny, Vladimir Kara-Murza, or Evgeny Prigozhin?
I feel so bad right now. Because I actually know the answer. And
Really?
Yeah, it's Navalny.
How so?
I actually happened to come across that article like recently because I was researching like a lot of shit to do with Russia. And it's 100% final answer Navalny.
You got it, man. Good job. That you know what? Happenstance. There you go.
Good job.
Let's get the applause track going. All right.
Yeah, I feel like the Biden come across it just randomly.
All right. Well, now we're on to the tiebreaker.
Do you have a tiebreaker ready?
I do have a tiebreaker ready. And it's with math and population. So
God.
Okay.
nearly everyone living in Gaza has been displaced by Israel's war against Hamas. To the nearest million, what is the population of Gaza? Nearly everyone living in Gaza has been displaced by Israel's war against Hamas. What is the population of Gaza to the nearest million?
I mean, it can't be that big, right?
And you can go, points if you want. We'll say it's less than 10 million.
I want to talk out loud about this, but I don't want to give him any hints.
Oh, wait, this is a toss-up?
Yeah, like we both answer, right?
You can both answer. And I'll give you a clue. It is less than 5 million.
Yeah.
It's whoever's closest without going over or what?
Just whoever's closest. You can go over.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
I'm going to say 3 million.
3 million on the dot?
Well, you said to the million, right?
Well, I revised that. I said you can do points just so we can make sure we get a tiebreaker if needed. But yeah. You go like 2-9, 3-1, doesn't matter. Yeah.
3-2.
3.2 million.
Well, is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Don't go 3-1.
No. Honestly, no, it's funny. Honestly, I had two numbers in my head.
Okay.
The first number was 3 million on the dot.
Oh.
God's honest truth. And the second number was far less. It was like 700 or 800,000.
I think it might be less. I just kind of split the difference-ish.
Yeah.
He said it was less than 5.
When he said less than 5, I was like, wait a minute. So here's the thing. I'm just going to go 3. That was my first snap judgment. And then I think that's pretty fair. Yeah, 3.
Either answer, I think, would have been closer. The correct answer, somebody actually got it on the dot in chat. 2.1 million to Mr. 2 Yellow Monkeys on the dot. So congrats. And congrats to you, Brandon from buildthetech.com. I'm sorry, Shill, as our guest, I got to do this. You've been rugged. Go visit Big K for a minute. And Brandon, as custom on this show, as the winner of trivia, you, sir, get to address the audience. Take it away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we got to say. I got to actually Google this. Okay, guys. Dang. I was going to say something to the effect of ducks fly together. But guys, thank you very much. It's been awesome having this gentleman on with us this evening. He is spreading the good word about this community, and very grateful for that. Appreciate him. All the credit goes to him. Thank you, guys.
Most gracious of you, sir.
Very.
God, it's so hot in there.
Good
I had to
times,
take off
Jim.
my jacket.
I am like kind of hot myself. Let's see. Here we go. Chat, thank you all for participating. It was a good last trivia contest of the year. And let's talk a little more crypto before we get out of here, shall we?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that's kind of like why we're here. State of the markets. Big K and I had a chat on Monday with I believe it was Monday, Buck and Dylan over the overall state of crypto. What's your take just on the general market? I guess I'll start with you, Shill. I'll bring up a chart here as well. I guess we can just start with Bitcoin because we've kind of like been dealing with the psychological barrier of 100K. So All Star Charts had a great chart here earlier today. I'll just throw that up. And they were like kind of like, oh, 100K is no big deal. You know, it's just, you know, this stupid psychological thing. Well, it turns out
Pretty big deal.
It's pretty big deal, huh?
It's
So
a new range.
Yeah, man. So that kind of is where I'm at right now. But what are your thoughts on it? Are we just kind of like range bound, waiting for the next move up? But like, how you feeling with your experience in this whole cycle game?
Initially, I thought it was going to be very hard to break, and then we kind of broke it pretty quick. And I was like, oh, wow, that was easy. And then we fell back below it. And then I feel like recently with the last pump we saw, we broke it pretty convincingly, and it was for the second time. So I figured that's not necessarily a bull trap. And we were just going to flip it to support and then, you know, either just stay there or continue upward, right? But then lately we've dumped back down below it. So I think it's turning out to be more of a trouble zone than it initially seemed like it was. But I initially believed that it was going to be one just because it's such a psychological price point.
Yeah.
But the good news is we've already breached it. So it's not that we're having trouble getting through where all those trades are lined up, but the fact that we haven't held it is, I don't want to say troubling, but it's confusing me a little.
I think it's kind of healthy as long as we don't get too far, like under 90K. I think, you know, we hung around like that 70 and under thing for like 6 months. I think this will take less time to resolve. I see this resolving in the first couple months, but
well, yeah, like that's
nothing wrong with some chop. You know what I mean?
Like there's definitely still indecision because Trump hasn't assumed the presidency, and a lot of things can happen. They already tried to kill him twice. So, you know what I mean? Like there's still this like hesitancy, I feel like, but I also believe that 2025 is going to be the year of DeFi and probably one of the best like breeding grounds we've ever seen for a true cryptocurrency revolution.
Well said. Bitcoin or Ethereum, your pick for 2025?
For in terms of what, gains or
Yep.
like you got to go with ETH just because the multipliers are higher. I mean, Bitcoin's market cap is the biggest in crypto, so it's a lot harder to get good multipliers off of it. So I think Bitcoin will probably run first, and then, you know, we'll see some trickle down effect, and ETH always lags behind and will catch up, but I think it'll give bigger gains. But I tend to go even lower than that for some more shitcoin, altcoin type plays to get the real multiples. But
Yes, sir.
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I like it. What this is, I guess, for all of us. I think I know one of Big K's answers, but you know, since Shill Gates is on this channel and he's come from outside of this community, so surely, you know, you dabble in other coins and other communities, and it's okay to talk about those on this show. What do you find most interesting outside the Hex Pulse Chain community before we come back and talk more about that later? But let's step outside the ecosystem for a minute. What else has caught your eye, or you have an eye on for 2025?
This was for me.
Yeah, man. We'll start with you.
Okay.
It's for
Yeah. So I'm big into another layer one that I really like is Caspa. Caspa is a mineable coin. It's a proof of work blockchain. It's actually performed pretty well. I forget the name of what their actual protocol is, but it's pretty revolutionary from what I've read on it. And I'm a sucker for mining coins too. Like I like staking, but I always have a miner's heart. So Caspa's up there. Another one along that same vein is Render. Render is actually does something that Richard initially proposed, which was distributed computing that can be rented. Like you can rent the hash power to do things like AI or like video production and stuff like that. So I really like that. And Tau is another one that's doing something similar to what Render's doing, but they're more focused on AI.
And there you have it, straight and to the point. Big K, what might you be interested in here soon? Perhaps in like 2 days,
yes, yes. I've got one. I've got a couple picks, but the one that's obviously that we've interviewed the gentleman founder of that's interested in me coming up forward is Alti, actually, alti.org, or if you type in 33alti.com, you might give me a sick referral bonus, look it up. But anyways, Alti seems pretty neat. It's definitely got some neat game theory. It's basically an ETH savings fund, but with added game theory on how it pumps back to you. Nice. That's my latest. That's as far as like what I think you're leading me to.
Yeah.
What I think you're leading me to. Yes. I think that's a neat.
I know you dabble outside of this ecosystem.
I do. I dabble in a lot of silly things. I've got all sorts of stuff out there. We could talk about for a while. I think some of these staking, the derivative projects on Ethereum where that tears apart, where you've got like a representation of the staking rewards, and a representation of the ETH value there. Some of those are pretty neat ones. I think there's some neat plays for decentralized, as we were talking about compute, like Render, decentralized AI products that are out there. That are really neat. I could give a name of one, I guess. If that's Morpheus.ai is pretty cool. I take a look at that. That's another one that I'm all about. I think that AI is going to be huge, and finding a way for us to have some sort of decentralized compute power dedicated to our own, to some sort of user-based AI is super useful. It will be great going forward. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. As far as other projects go, we could be here a while.
Okay.
Right.
Big K's top 2 or 3, and then we're good.
Those are my good ones. Check out Alti. I think it's going to be neat. A couple days it'll launch. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting project. Take a look.
And no stranger to the dabbling and or founding and or building, Mr. Brandon from BuildDTech.com.
This guy's got a neat project too.
He's got a few things in cooking. One just launched, I believe it was Christmas night. Yeah. And if you like Pateus on Pulse Chain, I think you'll want to listen up to what he has to say about that. But what you got cooking? What you like for 2025, sir?
Yeah, actually, I kind of wanted, if you don't mind, I'd like to can I just share the screen and show people what we launched on Christmas?
Yes, because it can actually benefit this community as well.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. So this is switch.win. This is a decentralized aggregator that is built on Ethereum. And what we've done here is we have preloaded Hex and Pulse on switch.win because I felt like people had to jump through so many hoops to try to get exposure of hex or pulse chain on Ethereum. And the truth here is many of our onboards are afraid to cross the pulse chain bridge, just because it intimidates them. Or, you know, if you just want an easy way to onboard, send them to switch.win. We're changing the verb. It's no longer swapping. We are now switching. Okay. Now what's interesting about this too, and this will kind of dovetail into a couple other of my picks. I'm also big on Morpheus.win. And Morpheus.win has been a super successful launch. I think at our height here, we've been up about 10x against DragonX, a US dollar value since launch. If you got in on day one, you know, you're looking at 250%. There was no pre-mint. It was a 1-for-1 mint or less. And there is no pre-allocation. There is hundreds of thousands of dollars in a wallet that is buying back supply every 30 minutes, publicly callable. And not controlled by a centralized entity. And it is purported or rumored that Switch may be benefiting Morpheus. That's strict rumor, and it, you know, it probably has nothing to it whatsoever. But this is going to be the first iteration in a pretty neat ecosystem that is going to start on Ethereum. The purpose of all of this is to help connect the Titan X and the Pulse Chain communities together, because I think that we have far more things in common than we do apart. And it's a very, very strong community of builders. To put it in perspective, there have been 30 projects that have been built on Titan X in the past year, and there's about 20 more in the hopper. That is an extremely difficult feat to rally so many builders around a central protocol there. So I'm bullish on Titan X. I'm extremely bullish on Morpheus. I'm bullish on Switch. Even if you don't like any of that, use Switch. It aggregates across 200 liquidity sources across Ethereum. It will be multi-chain eventually. We're just minimum viable product right now. And if there's any issues, please come to the Morpheus.win Telegram and just kind of let us know, and we'll be able to fix those. The other thing that I think is very important, with Europe trying to ban USDT with this new legislation that's coming out, potentially they're going to freeze assets on centralized exchanges on December 30th, potentially. I think that the new stablecoin in the XRP world, I think that's going to do really well, and I think it's going to increase a tremendous amount of market share for XRP. In terms of censorship resistance, XRP is not the place that you want to be. But if you're a traditional person and you're looking for gains and you're okay with that risk, maybe XRP is a strong play. But I think we see that do pretty strong things in 2025. And then Ethereum destroys Bitcoin in 2025, in my estimation, in
Let's
ROI.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool
I
with
agree.
that. Yeah. So I like the verb play. You know, switch instead of swap. I heard a friend of mine who was playing around with this project say, switch because swapping is gay. So,
Yeah. We gave some love to all the communities that we talked about here. So we're marketing this out as well.
Franklin St. Hex would like to know, is this main RH coins on the interface just the wrapped versions?
Yeah. So it's actually E-hex. So hex that is on Ethereum, because it's, you know, again, Uniswap shut everybody down. So we've connected directly to those pools. And then you also have wrapped Pulse. And if there's a need for other assets that you guys would like us to add as defaults, please reach out and we'll be there to support.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Shoot
I'm still new to the whole Titan X, and I'm trying to learn. I'm actually trying to get the founders on to interview them. But what is the coin with the rabbit? What's that?
Yeah, that is Morpheus.win. Check out
That's
the website.
Morpheus. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's my baby. Co-founded within a community here. Again, super deflationary, buybacks every 30 minutes, publicly callable buybacks. And price appreciation has been solid. Market cap's low. It's a hidden gem. So
Hidden gem.
Not financial advice.
NFA. If you have any questions about that, let me know.
Sell your house, mortgage your house.
Don't do that.
that market
No.
buy.
Don't do that.
I was just doing my sailor impression.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sell the farm, sell the ranch, Venezuelan pesos, all that jazz. Yeah.
You, sir, are a badass, says Tam Tam.
Yeah, well, Tam Tam's crushing it. Keep up the good work.
He's got Viking blood.
That's damn Skippy I do.
Bring back Big K. Hey, sir. All right. So we've gone around the room outside of the RH ecosystem. Now let's, bring it back, into the ecosystem. Talk a little more with our guest, Shill Gates here. I had a few questions, for you. I've seen some of your interactions with community. Obviously, well, I've seen a lot of them, but some of them, are more noteworthy than others. So going back to like your intro to Pulse Chain, it was Pulse Chain, not Hex, that Hexo got you into. Is that right?
He was shilling me both, but he
Okay.
sent me PLS.
Okay. And did you get into Hex from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done Quattro Cinco stake now. Like I own.
Oh, you're here for life, bro.
Yeah, I own Hex, I own PLS, and I own PLSX out of the Richard Hart tickers. So I haven't like fully dove into I wanted to focus on like getting allocations of those first before I went into like Ink and checking all them out.
Mm-hmm.
But are you asking also like other tokens on Pulse Chain?
We'll get there. It's on my list. I wanted to kind of stick to Hex first and get your takes on a few things. But yeah.
Yeah. So
what about you touched on the community earlier, but for those, maybe we've gotten like hundreds and hundreds of people come in since we first did the show intro. You talk on the community a little bit and your first impressions, your ongoing impressions. I think we talked in the green room too. It's like every community is going to have, I don't want to say, I guess, for lack of a better term, like bad apples or, haters or people with, are going to give, a hard time to whoever new comes into the community. What are your impressions of the Hex community after, say your first month here?
I think the community is what sold me more than anything, because as an investor, you want to be early, but you also don't want something that doesn't have a vibrant community around it. So because the community was so strong, that gave me a lot of conviction in investing in this, because if you have a strong community, that means you're going to have a lot of just outreach and onboarding happening. And, it creates like a real fertile land for some big gains because everybody's so passionate, right? We saw it with XRP. We've seen it with other tokens and projects, people just really rallying behind them. And that's what pushes you over the finish line. So to me, the community is the biggest asset of Pulse Chain. They've been super welcoming, super helpful. And, I actually consider a lot of people friends now. And I don't think I was expecting all that.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned that earlier, right? It's like, you sign up to get into crypto and, learn about some tech and cool stuff. And then you end up, making like, virtual or possibly in person, friends. So that's pretty cool, man. Pretty
well,
cool
like you guys all know kind of how the internet functions, right? So like generally on the internet, you'll ask a meaningful question and you'll get like shut up noob or Google's
Right.
free or something like. And I haven't received any of that. Everybody, like the other day, I was talking about wanting to set up a validator node. And, I had 10 different DMs from guys giving me resources and like, hey, man, here's what I did. Check this out. Here's the script. Like, it was just really cool. And it's been like that from the beginning. And I can't tell the community enough how appreciative I am, but also like how proud they should be of just the vibe that they've created and the community that they've created.
Good stuff, man. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. I just wanted to like read, and this kind of goes along with like what you were saying there, but read, a recent tweet of yours. It's like you said, I'm really learning new things about Hex and Pulse Chain multiple times every day. There's really a lot to catch up on. I think sometimes you guys take for granted all the knowledge you've accrued over the years in this ecosystem. Thanks for always trying to catch me up. So that kind of summarizes what you were just saying there.
Yeah, because there's a lot, like there's so much more than just the tech side, right? Like there's stories and there's different things Richard has said, and there's his books, and like there's a whole like meta around this entire ecosystem that I think a lot of people that have kind of been born in it, like they witnessed it happen over time, but I'm packing it into my brain in under a month. So it's like it's hard for me to like every day I find out something new and I'm like, oh, that's cool, or oh, that sucks. Like,
and speaking of packing a lot into your brain, another thing I've seen you comment on is the origin address. So what does your brain
here we go.
What does your brain tell you about this right now? Where are you at with it as a concept? How do you feel about it? Talk to me about it, because it's a kind of cool thought experiment to get somebody's take coming in, say, the first 30 days, and actually wanting to learn about projects and products, and how does this really work? Oh, what's this? And this is a unique aspect of it. Hex, of course, we're talking about. So what's your current take on the OA?
It's definitely a controversial topic. I've stumbled into a couple of those by accident just by asking questions. The other one was the E-hex P-hex debate. But as a crypto guy, as somebody who has done a ton of fundamental analysis, tokenomic analysis, stuff like that, it's terrifying. And I'll be completely honest. Like, in terms of the actual contracts and everything, it all seems to be perfectly decentralized. But in terms of the origin address, like, I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, it's a extremely centralized holding. That generally would turn me off, because I'm Mr. DeFi and I'm Mr. If one party is holding that much of the supply that's unlocked, there's a very high risk that it could be rugged. And obviously Hex has existed for 5 years now and not a single token has moved. That's definitely more of a stabilizing force. I've been educated on what some of the theories are that the OA exists for, and some of the benevolent things that it's being used to do. But with saying all that, all the alarm bells that have gone off in my head about it, I will also say that I am not super against centralization, similar to what Brandon said, right? Like, XRP, to me, I've owned XRP. It's centralized. And another one that I use as an example that a lot of people use is Tether. Tether is centralized. So, and I generally like my bank. I don't like the banking system as a whole in terms of some of the predatory stuff that they do. But my actual local branch, like, they take care of me. I like them. So I'm also a big proponent of centralized exchanges. I think that they have great products as long as they're not rugging and doing fraud behind the scenes like Sam was. But so it's a debate, right? It comes down to how much do you trust Richard Hart? And I think he has a long documented history of being Richard Hart, and it's up to the person, the individual, to decide if that's something they want to buy into. And obviously I've bought it, so I've kind of overcome those fears. But it's definitely been on my mind. Like, I posed the question recently, but it's been on my mind from the beginning. I've been asking behind the scenes for a while, because I've been doing this for a while, and seeing a 95% concentration of supply is very concerning.
That is fair. I mean, I think, like, and like you said before, I feel like Richard kind of priming us in a lot of the live streams and things that he talked about ahead of time is like whatever the information is, we kind of become desensitized to it in the sense that I've heard it all a lot before. So like I'm very aware of Richard's belief on having centralized ownership at an earlier time and stage in something versus decentralized infrastructure. Like infrastructure is decentralized, but yes, there's a high ownership that is centralized, and like that as the OA isn't staked, that will dilute over time. There will be less, the origin address will hold less percentage over time as they're not getting the inflation that the general majority of users that are staked are getting. And so that's like an ideal, and in Richard's beliefs, when you hear some of his early live streams talking about how he thinks that, that lots of businesses that were massively centralized early on have done super well, Apple, Microsoft, et cetera, Tesla, blah, 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 blah. So like so like the idea is tough to stomach to some degree, but it's important to separate. I think that the difference is that like, yes, the infrastructure, the software, what we're actually doing is entirely decentralized. No, the ownership at the gate was not, but like there's, some levers or reasons why you would want the origin address to be able to, change the APY of staking rewards early on.
That was the best answer that I received yesterday, was that the OAs to stabilize staking rewards if people started kind of manipulating or dumping or something like that.
Yes, there's one big moment in which the origin address did stake quite a bit of coins, and that was during the big payday event that happened after the first year. Big payday was like to reward. Basically, Richard wanted to find a way to reward people for getting in early. But when they were doing modeling way early on before Hex came out, he realized that anytime you reward somebody when they first get in, right at like day one, like whatever day they get in, the percentage of how much more they are effective in the network than everybody else after it becomes very unfair. So instead, they inverted that reward system to have one big day at the end of the year after the first year to reward people, all our first year people at once. So, with a bonus, based on the APY of what they're like the length of time they had staked, and so that like dynamic of like we want to reward people, but we can't do it early enough. And there was some pretty good back and forth in the chat logs, for the months beforehand and how we deal with that. And the big payday idea came out as like we're going to reward them based on two things: how if they're early and if they staked long, they got more reward from that. But the thing is that under the current system as it was at that point in time, some people, if you had a staked for a very short amount of time, a month or less, or even a few days during that period, you would see way outsized rewards, like 3x your coins. So the origin address staked during that 48-hour period of time to dilute everybody down. So like you still saw insane, like, you basically got a 30% bonus on tokens, even for staking for 3 or 4 days, but you didn't get 3x or 4x the coins that some people that it like showed in like the initial models, and that was for good reason. It would have really diluted it would have fucked everything if everybody got big payday got 4x their coins on that day. So everybody got a fair amount, somewhere between 30 and my biggest stakes that were pretty long then. So that as they come out now got almost a double, like a 90 to 100% bonus on those tokens, like a doubling, but those are for longer stakes.
Has there been transparency around the OA, or is this just what the community has figued out? Like, has he laid it out in plain words?
No, he's been super in his mind. He's like, he's like, I could tell you a lot of things, but if I tell you, then I'm making all these promises, and like I don't want you to even have an inkling of an idea of who might control the origin address, whether or not it's him or not. You can all speculate, but like he doesn't want to even give you an inclination of what the origin address might or might not do. So he didn't tell anybody any of that was going to happen at all. And you definitely, but like you do have some idea that in his mind he's like the origin address is going to act benevolently because it wants its own project to succeed. It doesn't want it. It's not going to destroy itself. It's obviously such a big holder that like you wouldn't be able to extract anywhere near even a small percentage of what it's like value on paper is or whatever, you know.
I think it comes down to how you frame it, right? Because like to me, like a lot of these things kind of go against what I believe as a crypto maxi, just in terms of like transparency and obviously control and stuff like that. But I think if it's framed the right way, it can alleviate those concerns to people. But I think for people like me, like it definitely raises certain flags that
Sure, for sure.
there's not it's not just laid out there like this is what it's for, this is what it does, this is why I had to do this.
No, I agree, and I mean, and we see more reasons why some of it made sense. You know, when we get into more legal regulatory bullshit with court. With
I was thinking that too.
Exactly. So like, you know, he's done his, you know, he wasn't kidding when he was talking about how much he's tried to anticipate the future. You know, like that's definitely like he's been from the very get go of running across him. I was pretty impressed at his ability to kind of, you know, I'm pretty good at seeing things a half a step ahead of time, but he's pretty good at seeing things, you know, 2 or 3 steps, you know, like a solid chess player. He's got a few steps ahead of most people. And this is definitely part of that, you know, having the framing set up such that it's pretty hard to nail him down for any of the, I mean, I would imagine that the origin address is and any of these sacrifice addresses are set up in some sort of blind trusts as well, is pretty, you know, pretty apparent, you know, from how careful he's worded things and the legal setups that he's brought up. So, I mean, but again, none of that's apparent for any of us to see, you know, you're right. Kind of definitely taking some
blind faith.
Well, the interesting thing, yeah, the FUD that Hex received for such a long time was that centralization aspect. But then you realize that on the Bitcoin network, the people that control the hash power control the network. You tell that to a Bitcoin person, 98% of them have no clue what you're talking about, and they try to smack you down. But it's like if Satoshi didn't control a majority of the hash power back in the day when there was an exploit and he had to roll back the chain, he wouldn't be able to do that without that hash power. He wouldn't be able to save his baby, and it wouldn't be here now. So it's like you're going to say Richard Hart's doing something nefarious, not you, but generally speaking. Yeah. He's doing something nefarious by, you know, controlling the distribution of Hex in the first 5 or 10 or 15 years. But you're not going to talk shit about Satoshi, who did the exact same thing. They don't understand the history. They don't understand how blockchain works. You know, thank God he didn't give expectations. You've got the Howey test now. The SEC's all over him. You know, there's got to be an investment of money in a common enterprise. The efforts of others, you know, if he had gone and promised everything, then everybody, you know, they say, well, the profits primarily arise from the efforts of Richard Hart because he said he was going to do XYZ with the OA address, which means the success of the entire thing depends on Richard Hart doing something. Like it all comes to a head now. We all see with great clarity why he did what he did, just like Big K was saying. So, yep.
And I've been critical of Bitcoin for the same thing, just for clarity.
Yeah.
The ability to 51% attack, roll back the chain, all that. Like, it's definitely something. Like, I've never been the biggest fan of Bitcoin either, and I think that a lot of the claims about it have been overstated. So, obviously,
who controls the mining? Look who controls the mining.
It's highly centralized.
Well, BlackRock has 10% control of every major mining company, publicly traded mining company out there. And now there's reports coming out, which we've called a long time, which says BlackRock snatches up the supply and by proxy snatches up the hash power. And what do? They submit a BIP, Bitcoin Improvement Plan, and they fork Bitcoin to their liking. I think that's going to happen. I think that's pretty likely in the next
it makes sense.
10 or 15 years because there's a lot of they want to increase the supply. Guarantee you they want to increase the supply more than 21 million. And they can make that happen. If they control enough of the network and have enough influence. So very interesting.
That was a more lengthy discussion than I thought it was going to be. And that was
I mean, you get a bunch of crypto guys in the room.
Yeah.
Like, this is what's gonna
I love it. This is a good mix, man. This is awesome. Yep. You did mention, so I got to ask, since you brought it up, Shill, you brought it up. E-hex, P-hex. So as an outside guy coming in for 30 days because I like this window. It's been like a month, so it's like a cool little thing to say. Hey man, you've been here for a month. What is your take on this, and this, and this? So the E-hex P-hex thing, like coming into the Richard Hart ecosystem, Pulse chain. What's your take on hex on Ethereum versus hex on Pulse chain?
So this is part of a broader conversation that I actually wanted to get into. But in terms of just my initial snap judgment response to it, I think it's a mistake. I think you create a lot of confusion. I think you split a lot of buying power. And I think it's the amount of people that have come up to me showing me a hex chart trying to say, look at this terrible thing you're supporting. And they show me the E-hex chart instead of the P-hex chart because they're so confused. They don't even realize where the asset lives now. I don't think splitting it that way was what I would do. And it's historically not what other coins that have migrated to other chains do. They let the ETH contract die. That was a placeholder. And now they exist in their true ecosystem of whatever chain they created. So that's my opinion on it. I understand. I made a tweet about it and I asked the E-hex supporters why. And there were some interesting responses that I don't necessarily disagree with, but I think this should have been something that Richard kind of put his foot down and didn't leave like this open door for there to be both. I think he should have just picked one or the other and said, this is hex. Like the other one's dead. Leave it alone.
Yeah, I mean, he strongly hinted in some tweets since then that.
Right,
yeah, I mean,
but
we saw a price change quite a bit when he made a pretty clear assumption or assessment.
And just some people just won't
still,
let it go just out of human nature. So it's just like
right.
We have this weird like tendency to foray into conspiracy theories in this community. So like, Richard isn't super direct for good reason, legal footing, whatever, on everything that he says. And then therefore people tear it apart. And you have like these little mini cults within our cult, that believe in, they tear what he says apart and believe all sorts of different things with it, So even though he says, P-hex clearly better than E-hex, there's still some people that read that and are like, yes, this is just him playing 7D chess. So
well, yeah, he's still mentioning E-hex, and he's still posting. E-hex, he's still posting MetaMask saying that E-hex is the top 5. So like, he's still exactly. actively promoting E-hex too.
You're right. There should be more clarity on that. I wish there was. I mean, and I'll be honest. I haven't been like super publicly like you guys are idiots, but like I'm pretty in the P-hex is the one that we should be all focusing on kind of camp for a while. But I also get where Richard's at or people are at in this community where we're like, we really hate to be told what to do. So as soon as somebody starts telling us what to like or not like, then I guarantee we're gonna have a little mini cult that's oh, I love that shit. And you're like,
the reason why I feel passionate about this, it's not that deep for me, but like just as an outsider coming in, first of all, the confusion you create, right? Like that's bad.
That's
that
my
doesn't
problem
help.
too. Telling other people
does not help new people that you're trying to onboard or that are naturally being onboarded on their own. They don't know what's happening, right? So that's a hurdle to overcome. The second hurdle is you've essentially fractured your buying power to the asset, right? Because now you have P-hex guys and E-hex guys. So the heights you can reach on one token is not the same as it would be if we were all pushing together.
And that's what you get from all the haters and detractors when price is down. They all put up the E-hex chart, and all the Pulse chain community is like, bro, what is this? Like you're posting the wrong chart.
When you go to CoinMarketCap and you type in hex,
that's
the hex that comes up is E-hex. The P-hex says hex parentheses Pulse chain. So people in their head probably think that's a scam token. Like, I want the real hex, the one that says hex.
Right.
Yep. Well, gentlemen, I have a dinner reservation. So
Unsatisfactory.
Fancy.
Suboptimal.
He's
not
got a
dismissed.
fireplace. He's got room
Yeah,
service, and
fireplace,
now he
I
has
got
a
it.
dinner reservation.
Yeah, my wife is, it's her birthday tomorrow, so this isn't
All
just
right.
for the happy hour, guys.
Be the good husband.
Yes. So,
Well, it was nice meeting you, brother.
dude, it was awesome hanging, Shill. I hope that we get another chance to live stream sometime. You're more than welcome to come on the
I'm all for it. Anytime you guys want, just hit me up.
Awesome, dude. Awesome.
All right, Big K. We'll check you out. We're going to wrap things up here shortly, but good seeing you, brother, and have
It was
an
awesome
excellent
hanging.
dinner.
I
I
will
love
have
the
a fantastic
ambiance,
dinner.
the
Yes,
wine,
let's
the
try to-
wine, the
try to
fire,
drink
the
my
room
finest.
service, the pen. You know, hey.
Well, y'all have a fantastic night.
You
I
too,
hope
buddy.
everyone out there is enjoying themselves thoroughly. And until 2025, gentlemen.
See you, brother.
Be good,
Later,
buddy.
bro.
And then there were 2,
3.
and me.
Wow.
Powerful
too.
conversations, by the way.
That was good stuff, man. I appreciate you coming on. I think it's great because, again, like your experience, but also newness to the community. It's like a perfect combination. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
ask great questions. You have great points coming in, from the outside. The skepticism warranted. Like you're asking all the right things, in my opinion. So it's a great conversation. So I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, because it kind of helps supporters and community members who've been in this for a while see things through a new onboard's eyes and understand some of the hurdles that Hex is facing in terms of bringing new people in.
Yep.
Because I obviously know what I'm talking about, so it's easier for me to verbalize these things. But like for your grandma or your aunt that's just out, she heard about this new crypto thing and she goes on CoinMarketCap and she wants to buy Hex, and it's like, oh well, there's 2 Hex. What's this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, which she's going with the one that says Hex.
Yep. No, I get it. And like, that's what I said. People who don't know any better that are in crypto, that are outside the community, but are in crypto, are like, hey, is this you? And then they post the old chart and it's just like, okay, bro.
I get those every day now.
Yeah. So it's like, oh man. So anyway, speaking of, a couple more, growing pains or welcome to the community and skepticism, towards you kind of thing. Let's just chat real quick about this. I think did like a wallet giveaway or something like that. So our resident security expert, Papa B, who knows this stuff, chimed in on that. What was your take on the pushback on that?
I'm not going to get into the personal interaction.
No. I don't care about that.
Just because I've kind of buried it and moved on.
Yeah,
and
I'm not after that.
And apologized to everybody. But
no.
Like, my whole thing was like, all of that came about because I made a tweet about OPSEC, right? I was trying to teach all these new followers that I had, because I didn't know about the Hex community and that is something that's stressed here. But like, I know
and that's a good thing, right? So
right.
Yeah.
But like, I know a lot of common themes in crypto are to use browser extensions and stuff like that. And I was pointing out that the safest, close to the safest you can be is to have a hardware wallet. And, I was giving techniques to use for if you are going to use browser extensions, how to make hot and cold wallets, and just like be safe with your interactions, and just a whole long list of different OPSEC things that I've learned over the past 10 years. And one of those was buying your things direct from the manufacturer, right? Like, that's important because you need that chain of custody. So I know all these things and I understand all these things, and I wasn't expecting to do a giveaway, but Trezor commented on the tweet and was like, hey, we'd like to essentially set up you doing a review, and also as a thank you, we're going to give you this Trezor to give away to your community. And I didn't really have a say in the matter. They just shipped it to me. So I was like, all
Right.
right, well, technically this isn't the best, but I'd be a real idiot to be committing a crime like this in public, like just in front of everybody as a 10-year influencer, known personality that's been doxxed before. Like
Right.
people do know who I am. Like it's
Right.
not, I don't present it out there, but I've been like publicly doxxed, like by malicious hackers and shit. So that's part of the reason why I don't show my face. Like they went after my sister and all types. It was bad. So, yeah, like I was coming from a good place. I was doing this giveaway that was presented to me. I wanted to give back to the community. Like just recently, I just gave away $5,000 in Titan X like 2 days ago. Like I don't
Hey.
have
All
a
right.
financial incentive to steal from anybody. Like I've always been a giveaway guy. I've given away tens of thousands of dollars. So for me, like the people voicing their concerns was not the issue. It was the way they kept doubling down after I kind of acknowledged that they were correct. It almost felt like I was being thrown under the bus so they could
Right.
use me as a platform to elevate themselves as the authority
right.
on the matter. And I just
The punching
basically
up
said,
kind of thing.
yeah, like I just basically said, like, all right, I don't appreciate, like now I'm starting to feel like you're questioning my integrity, and I don't appreciate that. I'm just gonna block you now, and that was it. I didn't insult anybody. I didn't say anything negative to anybody.
Yeah.
I just said I don't appreciate these questions of my integrity when I've done nothing wrong.
Yeah. No, I think you could have handled that as about as good as
Well,
it
what
could have
happened
been.
is, and again, not throwing any names, but when I started blocking these people, now they start tagging me in posts and like shitting on me.
Right.
So then it was kind of like, oh, and basically calling me a scammer and all this stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, like you want to take it there? Now it's fuck you. Like,
All right.
because all I was trying to do was do something nice for the community and teach people about OPSEC. So like
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't do anything that deserved any of those types of responses.
No,
That's the soft underbelly of the hex community.
Yeah.
That doesn't represent the majority. It's the small, very vocal minority of low IQ knuckle draggers that tend to do that. But you did the right thing. You just block people. That's what you got to do.
Well, the thing that I learned is in the future, I would force the issue with Trezor and say, listen, you need to ship this to the winner. But I just assumed that they didn't want to dedicate the man hours to having to follow up. Like they just wanted me to manage it. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's the way that it worked. Like I didn't really have a say in the matter. I wasn't like, I was like, well, you send the wallets to me. Like they're a big company. Like I was just doing what they said.
And Papa B is extremely smart. And you even said, you're like, oh, you step back and you said, yeah, okay, I understand now. So not throwing shade at Papa B or anything. I know how he communicates very directly and very bluntly. That's just how he operates, but he's a really cool dude. So yeah, man, don't worry about that.
I don't have
you're
a
a pro
personal
anyway.
vendetta. I don't
Yeah.
have a beef with anybody. I've unblocked everybody except the people that were saying like the worst stuff about me, which I'm never unblocking them. I don't care how much they beg or whatever. Like I don't tolerate, like, and especially in the hex community, right? Because Richard's been called a scammer falsely so many times. So when people call me a scammer, especially from this community, and I haven't done anything wrong to anyone, like it's kind of like, really, dude? Like,
yeah,
like you should know better than that.
They won't call Richard a scammer when he shills Pepe on the Pulsex farms. How come you guys didn't call him a scammer then? I don't get it. Or the Bitcoin, the thing that you hate so much now, or shilling other but they won't, you know, be intellectually honest there and logical. So
yeah. So all things are forgiven. I've received way more love than hate. I don't hold any grudges against anyone. Obviously, like I felt a little bit attacked, and I was actually just attacked a day or two ago by somebody else. But you know, it's just like it kind of comes with the territory, and I've been doing this for a long time, so I kind of know how to play that game. I actually like learning to block is new for me. I used to just go to war with people, and it would take weeks, and I would just drag it out and curse them out, and basically just brute force my way into winning.
But it's not worth it. It puts you in prison.
Well, that's what confused me so much. I was like, I did the right thing. I blocked, I didn't insult, I didn't say anything, and I still got this wave of shit. How could you block him? He's the OG. Like, and I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's I part of I like to find like the silver lining and things like that, and like the thing that I come back to is like, you know what, at least this community's had security beaten into their heads by the founder to where they're almost overreactive or overly paranoid. So it's good being aware, it's good having your head up and just not trusting anybody, but at the same time, like after a certain point or given the circumstances, there's just a certain way to handle or react or just take a situation in stride. And sometimes people in any community, not just this one, but will overreact and or resort to suboptimal tactics.
Well, the other thing I said, right, like if you won and you weren't comfortable, like just go sell it on eBay and make a nice little come up. Like it was a pretty expensive treasure. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't just like I was saying you have to use this wallet. It was more just like a friendly, nice thing to do. Like, and I've seen being around this community, like some of the things that a lot of these people that I meet are doing are terrifying to me. Like, for people that are so security minded and having it beat into their heads, like the things that people are interacting with and where they're keeping these large amounts of funds, it makes me want to like just grab them and shake them. Like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. What else we got here on the docket? I think we've pretty much run through things. Man, this time has flown by. I tell you, we're over 2 hours. It did not feel like that. I feel like we're like at the end of hour 1.
Plus, I was on Zen, so I time traveled.
Hey,
wait, hold on, wait, we got to run it back. He was using performance enhancing drugs for the trivia.
Hey, that's what it was.
But there's no testing. This isn't Vegas, buddy. We're not sanctioned.
I want a recount.
All right, let's roll.
A recount. I love it. Yeah, man. Looking at the show notes and whatnot, I think we've run through just about every.
So I do have one question.
Let's go.
It was meant to go a little further from what we were talking about with the E-hex, P-hex.
Oh yes,
but
yes.
It has to do with dilution, right? Because now, like originally, when Hex did the 10,000x and went up to 50 whatever cents, Hex was the only Richard Hart product, right? And now there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So how do you guys feel about the potential buying power and dilution of like the potential multipliers and the potential price targets of Hex specifically because of all these new things that people that are excited about Richard Hart can put their money in?
I guess I'll go first, and people who have followed me for a long time I'm known as conservative Cabana. So my price targets are generally a lot lower, and dare I say,
which gets you a lot of hate.
Maybe more accurate than some.
Way.
I'm not some moon boy chartist that's going to tell you Hex is going to hit $29 in
me either.
2026. But that being said, I'll bring it back a little more serious. That's an interesting point. I mean, for PulseX and Pulse Chain, like Hex was like the main thing sacrificed from a lot of the community. So I think a lot of that energy like just kind of stayed in the community, if you will. So to get Hex to where it was from the beginning, all the way up, I think it was what 52, 56 cents was the all-time high on Ethereum. That was just like organic, community growth. So I do think that could happen again. I'm going to go, my conservative price targets are, maybe like half of the all-time high this cycle, and maybe we can go from there. We've just been through so much, and so many unknowns, lie ahead compared to, this SEC stuff, even though I think we could get, possible positive dismissal resolutions, at least partial. I think
I
that could,
agree.
come in our favor. But at the same time, we got this like Finland socialist Interpol
Here's the
stuff.
thing I say about that, though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's an important distinction because that actually has nothing to do with cryptocurrency or blockchain, right? The SEC is specifically about hex, pulse chain, whatever. The other thing is about taxation and assault. So that's an individual issue with Richard that has nothing to do with the actual asset class. And I think there is an important distinction there.
I think you're partly right. Where I would push back on is there would be a school of thought that says, oh, well, all these, they're basically targeting or mentioning the sacrifice funds, I believe, right? So it's like, oh, well, taxes haven't been paid on those. Well, they're just sitting in a wallet. Well, some people might think, oh, well, one day if they're invested in Ethereum and Ethereum, doubles, triples, whatever, that those funds could perhaps cycle back into the community and, perhaps benefit the ecosystem. And if those are taxed to all get out, then that's a lot less, support coming back into the community. So I think that is why we saw the drop. I'm just speculating, but I think that's in some people's minds, at least, to where it's like, oh, well, the SAC wallet could get cut, in half if it's raided by some mysterious tax collector. So that's part of my speculation on that, but I don't know, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is I think this is just simple mathematics. I think that if you understand how liquidity pools work and you understand how pools can be vertically stacked, say like your input token is Pulse Chain, and then its primary liquidity pairing goes out into a bunch of other things out there on the chain. Like having a bunch of pairings didn't stop Ethereum from doing a 14,000x in 7 years, even though it had a lot of stuff connected to it. And a lot of that stuff did huge multiples as well. 50, 100, 1,000x, 10,000x. You've got what Pepe was, I think that was the biggest gainer, one of the biggest gainers. It's something like 6 million, 60 million X or something insane. So what we got to understand is if Pulse Chain is moving up, if there is buy pressure on Pulse Chain, the fact that it is bonded together in liquidity with everything else on the chain, it will pull it up by default. Mm-hmm. What's also interesting about this is if you have a pair with Pulse, and then you have a pair with that's connected to Pulse underneath that, as long as you're not selling back to Pulse, it actually doesn't hurt the Pulse price. So if your input is Pulse and you're connected to Pulse and you're just some shitcoin, for example, but let's say you're not a shitcoin, let's say you're Ink, for example, then anything else from Ink below gets traded, it does not hurt the Pulse price at all. So really what we need to be looking at are the net inflows over the bridge to determine whether or not this happens. There's a lot of things that can happen here. You've got Hex that has at any given time, $30 million of liquidity. In terms of the volume, there's like 10% of that is actual volume. Because the liquidity is so thick, these buys and sells don't destroy the price as much as a lot of people think. It's actually able to absorb quite a bit. And what happens if somebody is ready to push the price up? They go into liquidity pools, they cut the liquidity pools by 50 or 75%, and then they pump huge buys into the buy side of the liquidity pool. 2xing one side will 4x the price, roughly. You got to take into effect slippage and price impact, but maybe 2 to 4x that other side. It can move violently. It can move very quickly. The fact that whoever is control of all that supply on Hex, Pulse Chain, PulseX, all that supply is controlled by a centralized entity, and there's no more than 8% circulating at any given time out there for the rest of us plebs to grab. Like that's also huge. This is set up in such a way where it can move violently. It can pull everything up with it extremely quickly. So that would be my answer to that. I think that it's not going to be a problem when the time's right. Certainly when the market's starting to push up, I think you'll see it move violently to the upside, all those assets, as we've seen when things are pushing to the upside.
Do you have a specific range in price that you believe we could reach? I don't want to lock you into anything.
Like for what? For which asset?
I would say just in terms of hex.
I think hex. I've been on record saying, and I think I saw Briz say this earlier. $1 to $3, I think, is a pretty reasonable price target for hex here in the next, maybe 1 to 3 years. I believe that, and we've seen it go quick. It can go fast. It can get back to all-time highs sooner than we could possibly imagine. And once that happens, people FOMO in, and then the flywheel gets started, and it starts all over again. So $1 to $3 seems reasonable. Especially with some of the stuff that Richard had talked about in the past when he says, well, look what Bitcoin did. Look what Ethereum did. And these are designed to do X, Y, Z. I think the cycles will look similar, if not better. I think he would probably want to outperform those. So yeah, that's my idea.
So that, just doing quick math, if we say it's from 2 cents to $1 would be 50x.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, totally possible. We've seen way more than 50x in plenty of cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I think that hex is designed to do that when we get back into the bull market and people get excited about it again, and they start talking about the importance of T shares and things like that. There's like a background scarcity FOMO that will start embedding itself in people's heads when they understand that this is not a token that's just going to die off, and it's going to be here for a long time, and playing the long game is actually the right way to do it. So yeah, I think that once this stuff clears up, man, I think that Hex's best days are ahead, by far, and it's going to be here, for a very long time.
I think one important thing to tell the community is that to get these multiples, you need new money pouring in, and that's why outreach and adoption is so important. So anything that you guys can do to kind of bring new people in and also spread awareness and educate others on these products that you love, like, that's really important to reaching your financial goals in this ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I think it is awesome though if it's decided to do so, to be able to use that SAC money, because that SAC money, a lot of people underestimate how high things could push up with the right strategy if that happens. And people say, oh, well, that's manipulation and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, there are buybacks with stocks and traditional finance all the time. Like, why would this be any different? And how is that price manipulation? Like that's benefiting you. Somebody is providing the community with exit liquidity. That's wild. So, right?
Let's be honest too, right? Much of crypto was built on manipulation.
All of it right now.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah.
Well, it's like, especially in the early days, like, people don't understand like how Binance rose to prominence, and like how, people literally used to be able to, as individuals, impact the Bitcoin price. And then there were all the altcoins below that had pump and dump groups, and like this whole ecosystem was born in manipulation.
Oh, 100%. But that's the way. They're just taking a play out of the playbook of traditional finance, which has been doing this for hundreds of years.
Right.
So all that knowledge just gets applied here, and it was probably just like shooting fish in a barrel to these people who understand how to play the game. It is.
I've talked to a few of them, like,
yeah,
in the early days behind the scenes, and they were like, dude, I was making millions. Like, it was nothing just by like pumping and dumping the price. Like, we had a whole little group and we just did it, and you could do it on Bitcoin back then. You didn't need a whole lot.
Well, even right now on Pulse Chain, on Ethereum, on any EVM, I mean, the amount of price manipulation, the amount of sniping, the amount of stuff that goes on in the background that most people don't understand is mind-blowing. Now, some of it can be used for good purposes, and some people do that, but most of the people who are doing these things aren't doing it for good or benevolent purposes. So that's why, like, when you understand what's happening in the background, you compare it to the fact that the OA has never sold a token, for example, that's pretty cool. you know, and Hex's price did go up quite a bit, and we're in a bear market right now. And, you know, I think that we've got a lot of smart people in this community that wallet watch like crazy. A lot of that stuff would have come out in the open by now if there's some just crazy shit happening. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And again, bringing up the SAC funds again, it's no promises, no guarantees, but I do think that could have been a factor in the degree of dumpage that we saw on
Well,
there.
multiple people have said to me, right, this is Richard's baby, and Richard wants glory. He wants redemption. He wants to be this
They're not
shining
wrong.
beacon on the hill. So I think adding his, we'll call it ego. I don't, like, there's kind of a negative connotation to that term, but I don't mean it that
His
way.
legacy.
Right. I feel like he has a vested interest to do whatever it takes to make this successful, so that he can kind of just throw middle fingers in everybody's face that hated on him.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Hopefully he if that's the way he feels, hopefully he grows out of that, because that's a difficult way to live your life.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you're trying to prove yourself to other people. I understand the reasoning and the motivation, but I was pretty encouraged by the video that he sent out. He had a different tone about him. He had a different way of telling the community to go out there and represent itself in such a way that is professional, that comes across like, hey, we need to hold these people's hands if we want certain people to take us seriously moving forward. So I don't know if other people picked up on that, but I found that encouraging.
I feel like it's hard to tell who the real Richard Hart is right now, because he's under such scrutiny. He has to be careful about how he presents himself and how he talks, because the government is looking for any little loophole that they can get him on. So that's why he hasn't been streaming, because he doesn't want to accidentally slip and say something that they could use. Like, so I agree with your point, and I think that actually is a great tone to take. But at the same time,
genuine or not,
yeah, we don't know how much of that is advised by lawyers or, you know, intentionally done to not give something to the SEC.
He didn't want to come on and show his goatee,
Big
shaved
pee-pee.
head, ripped, chiseled, you know, physique. You know, that would totally give him away out in public now to the man that, you know, he has transformed himself into. So
yeah, ultimately it boils down to everybody in this chat room. Just like he said, you got to go take the bull by the horns. It would take the information that you've been given, the chain that you've been given, and you got to go out there and find a way to let people know about it. And that's the most important takeaway. And we got to break away from those chains from Richard. And I'm not saying don't listen to the guy, this and that. It's just,
I've been saying this.
Yeah, just break away from that. Like, you don't wait for Rich. He's already given you everything that you need to go do cool things. Yeah. So go do it.
He's complimented a lot of the stuff in previous videos. He's like, man, people are building cool stuff on Pulse Chain, like forking Aave and, you know, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
It's a
keep
sandbox.
doing it. Yeah, keep doing it, guys. You're putting your mark on the world here.
Exactly what I've been saying. I don't say this to sound like weird, but like, we are all Richard Hart in this network. Like, everybody can champion this and go spread the word and do just as good as he could do. And that's why it was created. That's the point of decentralization. We are all owners. We are all part of this, and we are all responsible for our own financial future. And we just have to pick up the torch and run with it.
Yep. Bingo. And not just break out of these chains, these weird psychological chains that these people are putting on you. Some of these folks in this community, get away from it, guys. Get away and go do good, build cool things, talk about things, like have meetups, like build projects, like all sorts of things you can do. This is our opportunity.
Try not to shit on other people that are doing that, because I see a lot of that too, and it makes me upset. Like, even with you, like, I know I'm probably gonna get some shit for bringing up, you know, the other Ethereum based stuff. And, you know, it's like, guys, this is all crypto. Can we just like kind of come together and celebrate the fact that there is choice and that there is diversity?
Well, the difference between you and those people is you actually talk about the stuff that you own. they hold it and don't talk about it, and then they shit on everybody else for holding it. So that's the problem. So don't worry, and you will get shit for it. Absolutely. You know, I'm not going to apologize for it. You're ready.
That's why I did Freedom of Speech Month last month, just to talk about anything and everything that was in or out of the ecosystem. And it went over, quite well. Only had like one real repeat hater.
Yeah.
And
but like, I mean, perfect example, right? Like if I wasn't curious and if I was closed off like that, I never would have found Pulse Chain. I would have been like, oh, fuck them. Like I love Solana or I love Ethereum or whatever it was. Like, if I wasn't curious and willing to explore, I never would have found this cool little ecosystem that I'm now a part of.
Well, here you are. You get onboarded into Pulse Chain, and you came from a completely different world, and you had completely different tastes and completely different interests, and you get brought in, and you start talking about Pulse Chain and Pulse-hex, and all of a sudden you fire up a stream, and then you start talking about something else that's not Pulse Chain and Pulse-hex and Hex, and then the hordes come. How does that make any logical sense? It's like, I'm not going to, you don't drop everything for these people. Okay. Crypto is broad and crypto is wide. We now have values and philosophies to be able to guide us properly because RH taught most of us about crypto the right way. I give him 100% of the credit of that for me. So it's just weird. It's weird to think about, and you got to call it out. People, the leaders of this community need to stand up and they need to call it out, and they need to stop kowtowing and virtue signaling to these trolls out there that just want to control everything and hurt people, man. It's bad. So you know what to do. You've been around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm for everyone. I want all of crypto to succeed except for the ruggers and scammers. Like,
yep, same.
Well said. Well, I was going to put a bow on it, but right before I do, you were mentioning different coins and Pulse Chain. So it just reminded me to ask you, Shill. Obviously, Hex, Pulse Chain are kind of like your main, I guess, first forays into the ecosystem. But what else, or is there anything else that's caught your eye on Pulse Chain that you're like, man, this is pretty cool, or I didn't realize that this was here, or they're just things that you like in general? What's on the Pulse Chain that you find kind of attractive?
I'm gonna keep it simple, and I'm gonna hit 3 different narratives. Right, the first one is going to be PTGC and UFO. I've interviewed their founders. The interview hasn't dropped yet, but it will be coming out very shortly. They basically onboarded me in real time, explained their platform, what it does. And I was sold probably like 15, 20 minutes into like an hour and a half long conversation. Yeah. I think what they're doing is really cool. They seem like really great guys. They have a strong community. It's one of the most shilled, to me, projects that I've seen on Pulse Chain outside of things that Richard Hart built. The next narrative would be somebody who I now considered a friend. His name is Simon. He's from Wonderwolf Studios. He's creating a game. It's not a play to earn game. It's a game with a bunch of meme token like icons in it, and you basically, it's like a first person shooter, and he's trying to sell this game to the masses, like even people outside of crypto. And his main goal is to onboard people and to bring them into the Pulse Chain ecosystem. So he's going to have a token with that. He's actually live with the raise right now. And I did an interview with him as well, and that's on my Twitter. So for that, I think it's different. And I like different because, the token is going to pay out holders with proceeds of the game purchases, right? So, but it's geared towards promoting Pulse Chain and Hex.
And I think really that is kind of like the end game, is to get that stickiness on your chain. Oh, cool, we have some assets that are stores of value and we have things with utility, but what is that extra thing that's oh man, I can benefit by playing this game or spending time on this chain, that's the stuff I think that could be like true game changers, in the future with advancing particular chains. So I love seeing stuff like that.
And then the last one, we got to hit the major narrative, whether you like it or not, is meme coins. I've found one of the most undervalued meme coins that I've found on Pulse Chain is called Kishka. Now, Kishka is a community takeover, which I love because that means the evil person that rugged is already gone, right? The community took over this coin, and Kishka is actually Richard Hart's childhood cat. And right, so there's pictures and there's tweets of Richard with this cat from his Twitter. And we know, I mean, we talked about Pepe. Some of the best performing memes are animal memes. And, Kishka is attached to the founder of the chain. And it's also not owned by one entity in terms of like the developer's already gone. He rugged, the community took it over, and they're basically like just growing this grassroots thing, supporting Richard Hart and his love for his childhood cat.
Richard always had a fondness for pussy. So
but no, like you got to talk about memes because they're literally making millionaires every day, right? And that's gonna happen on Pulse Chain too. Like we have Teddy Bear, which is also related to Richard. That's why to me that's my play, right? Like Teddy's been successful mostly because Richard always has the bears in his live streams. And, that's probably the most dominant meme on Pulse Chain. So to me, Kishka seems like a no-brainer because it's tied to Richard. It's an animal, which are the most successful memes. And it's also a community takeover. So it's relatively safe.
There you go. And
check out Alien as well.
Is that a meme coin?
Yeah, well, it's with the UFO and PTGC ecosystem. So that launched after those two. They're not directly like tied per se, but I do think the UFO or the PTGC DAO at one point was purchasing Alien, and that's pretty strong too.
Very cool. I gotta look into that.
Yeah.
And we were speaking of Richard Hart. Breaking news tweet.
Richard has tweeted.
Hey, powerful lawyers and founders, you can learn from Pulse Chain, Pulse X, Hex if you want to comply with or even exceed some proposed cryptocurrency regulations. See how middlemen are removed by people downloading and running the code of their choice in the privacy of their own homes. We've been doing it better for a long time now. Thanks, Ethereum. Check out your free coins you may have waiting for you on Pulse Chain. The best governments are those that follow the laws that protect the rights of its citizens to freedom of speech, association, movement, and privacy. Governments are supposed to empower their people. So there you go. Run from your desktop. He watches the show. He's just tweeting out because we were name dropping him. So it's all.
I feel like Richard. He watches a lot of this stuff.
He does.
I think he does. Everybody say hi, Richard.
Hi, Richard.
Hi, Richard. Okay. Good stuff, gents. Well, I think that can put a bow on this fast-flying 2.5 hour show that feels like less than 90 minutes. Great conversation, gents. This is
I agree.
Outstanding. This is so fun. And Shill, man, you're welcome back anytime.
Anytime,
chat.
Brother.
This
Just let me know. All I need is a heads up, and I'm good to go.
Awesome. Yeah, you're good fit with this bunch around here and our Friday happy hour hangout. Typically, as always, it wouldn't be a happy hour show without closing it out with the final shill. So as we do every show, we go around the room, tell us where we can find you, what you got cooking. I don't know, give us a favorite book or movie as a bonus. It's the end of the year. And maybe a price target for Hex next year in 2025, if you want to, or any other coin. Brandon from buildthetech.com. What do you have going on, sir?
Yeah, so buildthetech.com is a full custom development Web3 company. So if you have an idea that you want to bring to market, you can bring it to us and we can bring it to life. We also serve Web2 people. So if you're a business owner and you need a website refresh, or you have an idea for an app for your customers, we can build that as well. Pretty nice stuff there. In terms of another thing that's very important, check out switch.win on Ethereum, guys. So a lot of you E-hex maxis out there, it's difficult for you guys to find a place to buy, maybe when the bridge is down, for example, on Pulse Chain. So you can go to switch.win on Ethereum and you can pick up a bag of E-hex, and we put the tickers in the default section. So it's a very easy drop down. Bing, bang, boom, swap some ETH for some E-hex if you want to. Also wrapped Pulse. That just dropped. Making some announcements about that soon as well.
What website is that again?
Yeah, switch.win.
Switch, because swapping is gay.
We don't swap anymore. We only switch. We're changing
It's
the
great
verb.
for onboarding too, that you've put them all on the top highlighted.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Can we see that one more time?
We actually can. Okay. Believe it or not. And I'll go ahead
I like
and share
seeing
that.
Richard Hart ecosystem.
Yeah.
Tokens,
I like things that are like, I like builders. I like people building things. I can't code. I'm not a developer. I have some ideas of my own, but I love watching other people cook and do cool stuff like this.
Yeah. So here it is, switch.win. We made these clickable as well. So you can tell an onboard, go to switch.win, scroll to the bottom, click the ticker of your choice here. And these are some of the most traded. And this also includes the Titan X tickers, Pepe, all that sort of thing, DAI, WETH, ETH, wrapped Bitcoin. And you can simply hit trade now, and then you can drop down and you can see what asset you want to purchase right here. Super simple. And we've got some rooms for some more assets. So I think as some of these tokens on Ethereum start launching, we might even showcase those for free on here to kind of help projects out as well. So switch.win, guys.
You just brought up one point that I want to ask real quick. On Pulse Chain, what if I want to take profits? What is the preferred stable coin for me to use? And please don't say PDAI.
I like DAI. I think most people like DAI. I
was going to say DAI is my one.
Okay.
And typically you get a slightly better ratio, I think, than USDC, depending upon the pair.
Yeah,
I want to say. It depends. I mean, I would just check, especially if you're using an aggregator like Piteus or something like that.
But it's between DAI and USDC.
Yeah.
For me, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and then hex to $1. We'll just go in the low end. I think 1 to 3, but we'll just say $1
in 2025.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff.
That would be great.
Yep.
I conservative Cabana loves this. Shill Gates, man, tell us what you got going on, where we can find you, and where you think Hex might go in 2025.
Yeah, my name's right on the screen at I am Shill Gates, the letter I, the letter M, Shill Gates. I'm not really building anything. Like I'm a marketer, so you might see an occasional shill from me, and obviously, like, I'm fully disclosed. I try to be ethical about that, but I like to post a lot of positivity. I like to post some education, and I also have a weekly show with a wild SJ that is just a very laid back Twitter Spaces where we just kind of talk about all the things that have happened in that week, and it's just meant to be fun and a place for community building and people to come hang out. Like, I'm not trying to really grow it into anything. It's just like a hang.
Friend of this show, by the way. So she was on our season premiere. So shout out to her. She does a lot for the community. Talking about community building. She excels at that. So yeah.
Powerful SJ.
Yeah.
And we have a really great chemistry, and it's something that I look forward to every week because we always have a good time and a lot of laughs. So I'm just chilling myself. I'm Shill Gates on Twitter.
Love it.
That's it.
And in terms of price prediction, it's harder for me because I'm newer here.
Yeah.
But based off what I've looked at and based off some of the concerns
But
that
you
I
got
raised
experience
earlier,
though too. You've been around the block, so yeah.
yeah, I tend to be more on like leaning towards your side of the conservative numbers. I don't like giving like specific price predictions just because
I don't like them either, but the audience loves them. So that's the only reason I ask.
they love the confirmation bias and all that. I get it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
for me, like the thing that I say to all the people with the very lofty goals is let's get to all-time highs first, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a major hurdle in and of itself. So let's get back to 55, 53, whatever it was. And then we'll start talking about all these, crazy numbers. But for me, I tend to agree more with you. I'm in the 25 cent to 50 cent range. Like I
Let's
think
do it.
that there's multiple headwinds that have to be overcome, and I think it's going to take a lot of buying power unless there is, like we talked about, some type of manipulation or Richard goes in balls deep and just starts like literally mooning it himself to some degree, to which would cause a FOMO pump, and then everybody just kind of pours in. I mean, we've seen plenty of frenzies like that in crypto, and it absolutely can happen. So,
Oh yeah, it just takes a small spark.
yeah, once people start seeing big fat green candles, they just start getting silly with their money. So it's absolutely possible. But in terms of me and what I see, I lean more towards what you've said in the 25 cent to 50 cent range as a price target.
Yeah, I would actually, I mean, even me being conservative, I'd take that closer to $1 if this latest obstacle hadn't come out, because
I agree.
I
That
felt
was
like we were
the SEC
poised,
win. Yeah,
the rocket ship was on the launching pad, and if this is, no guarantee, but if we got, a really nice, partial or, even better dismissal decision, which could come any week now. Man, I felt we were ready, and I mentioned that spark that
I agree.
that could have been it right there.
Yeah,
man.
it was like a punch to the gut when that Interpol thing came out, because I was like, oh my god, like here's another weight.
Now we got to
just
deal with
holding-
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
So
like it is what
we
it
might
is.
we might break out of the 2 to 3 cent range, which would be awesome. 'Cause
Here's
we've
what
been
I will say,
fighting
though.
this forever. Good.
With all the weight on the hex community, I measured it a couple weeks ago. From the lows, P-hex has done a 7 or 8x already, which that's impressive because it is a larger coin. Like it's a higher market cap crypto. And, for something to move that amount with all the issues that it's facing in terms of public perception and also the SEC and Richard not being around, like, I think that's really impressive, and everybody should be proud of that. I know that's not the prices people want, and there's still people that are underwater and, really trying to get back to their initial buy-in price. But I think that's a positive sign that things are trending in the right direction.
Yeah, man, we were looking good there until that last little giant wick
just
down.
like the first SEC FUD, dude. We were looking good, man.
Yes.
Gosh,
Isn't it the worst when that happens? It's like worst timing.
I remember making so much money on shorting XRP when the SEC FUD came out. I feel really bad for those guys, but I know how they feel now.
Look what they did, though. They
know.
went back and almost kissed generational all-time highs just off the case lifting.
Like, what's going to happen here? Yeah, what's going to happen when this ruling comes back and it's in our favor? I think it's going to be really good, guys. So.
Yep.
Well, that's why I try to educate people that the Interpol thing is bad, but it's not as bad as the SEC thing.
Personal thing, not yeah.
Right. So SEC was attacking post-chain and hex specifically. Interpol, Europe cuck bullshit is just attacking Richard as an individual.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think the taxes thing is like the main point of fear in some circles, but that's like absolute fear of not like mooning out of the galaxy, and good things can still happen, even if the giant amount of taxation was levied
Plus,
somehow,
can
some
we-
way.
Can we
Yeah.
take a second to give a big middle finger to all the people cheering on government corruption and taxation just because it's Richard Hart?
It's the old Bitcoiners. They're sucking BlackRock's D right now too. They
That's
love
what I'm
it.
saying. Like, they're so full of shit. Like
Mad
that.
Maxi Pad Kaiser and his
Gosh, man.
crazy wife.
Insufferable.
The insufferable Max Kaiser, miserable Mike Alfred. Just go down the list of Maxis. Of
What was
Bitcoin.
Simon? What's his name?
Simon Dixon Twat
Yeah,
on Twitter,
yeah.
or Twit. But anyway, yeah, yeah, all those.
I think
Everybody
Eric Wall is a paid plant. But that's just me. I don't
He's
think
like
he is
he's like the paid
paid by
opposing
Richard. He's a paid Richard.
he's the paid opposing mascot. I
Correct.
think that's what that is.
So there was a Eric Wall parody account that is called Erica Wall, and it has
Yeah.
a girl picture that's
Yes.
AI, but like I'm conflicted because it's actually really hot.
You got screenshots, don't you, boy? Don't.
Oh,
I've been
no.
having some dirty thoughts.
I bet, man. Don't leave this guy alone. In the
Careful
same
with
room.
the AI generators. Yeah.
Oh, true.
All
Jeez.
right. Yeah. Anyway, how about
There goes the neighborhood.
we were trying to get out of here, but look what happened. All right. Well, Jets, thank you so much again. Shout out to Big K for being on with us for 90% of this show. And Brandon from buildthetech.com. Shill Gates, pleasure to have you on first time. And like I said, man, welcome back. This is, anytime you want to hop on, man.
Hopefully not the
good.
last.
Good chat. No, I think we're going to have a lot of things to talk about going forward. And of course, we'll have some shows for you in the new year. So just stay tuned to the Cabana Crypto socials on all channels, usually on X. I'll put out show times and whatnot when we're gearing up to do one again. And yeah, guys, I mean, Richard said in his video, and it's kind of been known to most of the community, like 60 days ish is kind of when you can maybe start sniffing around for a decision and dismissal hearings like these. So keep your eyes and ears open. Who knows? New Year's almost here, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm feeling good about it. So
Let's get crazy.
let's go. Thank you, chat. Again, thanks to our guests and co-hosts, Rags and Big K for jumping on most of the time. And we will see you in 2025. Cheers, everybody.
Bye, guys.